Sports presents the Stanley Cup Playoffs on Molson Hockey Night in Canada.
These are the Vancouver names you've come to know. Each Canuck prepares tonight with the realization that to avert playoff elimination, he must be at his absolute best.
Murray circles the wagons, goes outside, gets it on his backhand, and gets it away in so close that Tabarachi can't react.
Across the arena, the air is becoming similarly desperate. The Winnipeg Jets are in their rink for the final time in the series and need the good fortune they found at home.
The giveaway, Dave Babish takes the shot. Look at Igor Larionov. He can't get a stick on it, and Tabarachi, the desperado, reached back, got a piece of it, and cleared it out of his crease.
The dress rehearsal is over. Both sides will feel the squeeze. I'm not sure if we can take it. Even the piano man, Billy Joel, knows this is the key game. Pressure really mounting here tonight. One thing is certain. Fan reaction in Manitoba and in British Columbia on every street corner, every home. There's been a slice of hope directed at this building tonight, and we'll remember the fans regardless of who survives Game 6 tonight. There you see them clad in white, over 15,000 strong. The arena set to bring the roof off this building here this evening. Good evening and welcome to Molson Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup Playoffs on CBC television. I'm Ron McLean as we get set for the Canucks and the Jets. Let me show you another in the latest round of t-shirts being printed for this series. I was in the White House when it happened. It's what they call the building here, of course, in Winnipeg. Lots of fans are sporting that look tonight. 16 teams made the Stanley Cup playoffs. All 16 are still alive, but 4 teams face elimination tonight. The Wings, the Kings, the Blues, and the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver has to win here in Winnipeg to send the series home, but there's also pressure, as you could expect, on the Winnipeg Jets. They have to deal with a number of things. One is 1990 and all the hype surrounding the fact that they squandered a 3-1 series lead against the Oilers 2 years ago. They have to deal with the fact that if they lose in their own building, the deciding game will be at the Pacific Coliseum, and they know that in Game 5 they were beaten 8-2. 8 goals by the Canucks, better than their total in the first 4 games. So the pressure's on both sides as we get set to look ahead to Game 6. And who would you expect to star in the game tonight? Well, let's begin in goal. Rick Tabarachi, 2.86 goals against average. He's been great. Here's what he thinks tonight.
I guess we really have to come out and try and play an aggressive style of game. The same way we did in the first 4 games. We were kind of checking them pretty well. We were aggressive on them constantly, and I think that's what we have to do to a team like that, try and slow them down and play Winnipeg Jets style of playoff hockey.
Well, I think that we have to come out with just as good a start as we have in the last couple of games here, but I think the big factor is scoring the first goal. You know, we seem to be a different team when we do score the first goal, as Winnipeg is a different team when we do score the first goal.
That comment recorded about 2 hours ago. Kirk's in a good mood, but really you can sense he knows the importance of the game tonight. 2.82 goals against average for McLean. 1 goal apart are Tabarachi and McLean, 1 victory apart. They've been sensational. John Garrett knows the position they're in. And John, we just heard Randy Carlyle is out tonight, Dean Kennedy in for Winnipeg. That's a change. What else might we expect? Let's go up to Chris Cuthbert and John.
Well, Ron, we expect a lower scoring game tonight, that's for sure. Even Pat Quinn called the 8-goal explosion an aberration in Game 5. So what do the Canucks have to do to take this one to the limit?
The games they've played well, they've been a physical team, they've gone to the net well, and their big players have played big. You look at Jim Sandlak, he has the size along with Trevor Linden. And in the games that the Canucks have played well, Sandlak has been in front of Rick Tabarachi, and Tabarachi's played well. You have to get in his way, don't let him see the puck. And Sandlak has been able to do that using his size. Trevor Linden, the same thing. The games he's played well, he's gone to the net, he's created traffic in front of Rick Tabarachi.
There you see Randy Carlyle. One of the strengths of the Jets is a guy like Carlyle to stop that. Another strength, Rick Tabarachi. But in Game 5, after a brilliant 15 minutes, they got to Tabarachi. Has it shaken his confidence?
I really don't think so. He's been on such a roll, and that first period in Vancouver is as well as Tabarachi has played in the whole series. So I don't think his confidence is down. I think even though they did get 5 goals on Rick Tabarachi, he still feels good about the way he's been playing.
All right, the Canucks have to mount a 3-game winning streak, but they've lost their last 3 visits here at the Winnipeg Arena. Let's go back to Ron.
Thank you very much, Chris and John. There's one fellow who likes to march to his own drum, and there's another coming out here ringside at the Winnipeg Arena.
Carlyle out. Well, I'll tell you something, Randy Carlyle, they're going to miss this guy. This guy is the backbone of their defense as far as I'm concerned. But Dean Kennedy's coming in. Dean's a big guy. He hasn't played much, but he's got the heart. He'll be all right.
What do you think about this crowd, Don? Poor guys are trying to control them behind you right now. What impact?
Hey, that's all right. That's hockey. That's Canadian hockey. But I'm going to tell you, Winnipeg has to win the game tonight. They should shoot their bolt, because if they don't, they're not going to win in Vancouver. I told you to bet on Vancouver the last time. This time, you better. This is all even right now. The crowd is in their favor. Vancouver's up 2. If they don't win tonight, Winnipeg, they will not win in Vancouver.
Here come the Canucks, obviously, and now the Winnipeg Jets will make their appearance. And you can expect the crowd to welcome them as they have the last 2 times. If they were to win tonight, they may go home feeling a little relaxed and let up.
No way. They grab this one tonight, they'll be sky high. That crowd in Vancouver will go nuts like this one, and they will win if they go back to Vancouver. Shoot your bolt in the first 10 minutes, Winnipeg, because that's the only way you're going to win.
Can you name any players that you'll look to try and gauge which way this one will go?
Well, you got to go to defense, and I hate to say this, it's such an old tune. Tabarachi and McLean. Tabarachi's got to be better, though, because they've got more talent on Vancouver. He will face more shots. We're going to see what Tabarachi's made of tonight, folks.
Not to mention 39 others. What bedlam. The Winnipeg Jets and the Vancouver Canucks. This is Game 6 of the Smythe Division semifinal showdown. The Canucks have to win. The Jets feel they must. And we'll have the opening face-off when we return live on Molson Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC is brought to you by Molson Canadian. What beer's all about. By Ford, celebrating 75 years of championship trucks. By Imperial Oil and Esso Associates. You're on your way with Esso. And by Pepsi. Gotta have it.
And the head coach of your Winnipeg Jets is John Paddock. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join Chantal Kreviazuk for the singing of our national anthem.
Expectations are high, and so is the decibel level here at the White House, and the Canucks admit one of the keys to their success tonight will be muffling this frenzied crowd. There are the officials, referee Bill McCreary, the linesman Gerard Gauthier, and Jerry Pakeman. And here are the starting goaltenders for Vancouver. Kirk McLean, he has been steady throughout, number 4 among playoff goaltenders with a goals against average of 2.82. Rick Tabarachi lasted just 27 minutes Sunday, but Coach John Paddock said there was no doubt he'd go back. He's been the star of the series so far. Aaron Broughton goes to center against Cliff Ronning.
Starting Tabarachi is no surprise as Bob Essensa came in relief. Tabarachi has played well every game. Why not come back to him?
Ronning along with Trevor Linden and Greg Adams, a line that has to get untracked offensively for the Canucks. Broughton along with Elnick and Tkachuk for Winnipeg. And it's Elnick. Round the boards behind the goal. Tkachuk watched by Lidster. Ronning clears it up the boards, past Housley, out to center ice. Now Dave Babbage, the former Jet, clears it down right on Tabarachi. Igor Ulanov turns with it. Up ahead for Broughton. Checked by Ronning. Broughton gets it again. Checked in turn by Ronning. That's Ulanov with it. Not wearing the full face shield tonight. Look for the breakaway pass in Elnick. Broken up. Now the Jets make a change as Lume hits the line. Jyrke Lume works in and couldn't get by Ulanov. Ulanov flips it out to center ice. Darren Shannon reaching for it. Linden was there. And Lume takes over. There's a lead pass. Tom Fergus with some room. Winds up, shot right on. And the rebound cleared by Dean Kennedy. No one expected Dean Kennedy would be back in the Jets lineup this early. Some thought he was done for the year after undergoing knee surgery on December the 2nd.
The most optimistic prediction I heard was the middle of May, and here's Kennedy back already, and as Don Cherry said, a big heart to match the big size of Dean Kennedy. He's not going to hurt them. The big scratch for the Winnipeg Jets, Randy Carlyle with that knee injury. He took the pregame skate, but you could see him hobbling around yesterday, and you'd wonder how he couldn't play on that knee. You look at Dean Kennedy, he's worked hard in practice. He said he tested it. Felt good, but he never had the doctors okay up until tonight. Great to see him back.
Is it ever a great day for hockey?
The weather, unlike last week, we don't have hockey weather outside. I think summer has arrived in Winnipeg. Went from snow last week to the middle of summer this week.
Good look at Thomas Steen as he gets set for this face-off against Peter Nedved. Nedved with Ferguson Sandlap. Win the drop. Plavsic puts it behind the goal. There's the veteran Mike Lawler, gives off to Newman, and Davidov deflects it out to center ice. John Paddock saying that Aaron Broughton and Evgeny Davidov were his best two players in Game 5. Fergus in front to Sandlak, rolled towards Tabarachi. Now back comes Davidoff. Over the line, shot blocked. He goes right after it against Plavsic. Davidoff behind the goal. Now gets it to Steen out in front. Olczyk batted at it. Davidoff gets the rebound. He's got great speed. Feeds back to the point. There's the shot just wide. And it comes past Numminen and down the ice.
The little things that were working for the Canucks in Game 5 are not working so far as Thomas Steen came back on Jim Sandlak, made a good play. Igor Ulanov stopped Jyrki Lume on a one-on-one.
Here's Deblois in the corner against Larionov. This was the key matchup in Game 5, and of course, the Canucks dominated it. Larionov and Bure combining for 7 points, but it's Deblois now. And play whistle down as the net was knocked ajar behind the play. And Bill McCurry stopped the play.
Scratches for the Vancouver Canucks. Gerald Diddick still out. Sore leg. Randy Gregg back in. Because of the one-sided score in Game 5, Randy Gregg got a lot of ice time, felt a lot better, and there's a number of Pavel Bure signs. And they're all like that. There's not many Pavel manias here in Winnipeg.
Despite his 4-point performance on Sunday night, he wasn't feeling very well after the game. In fact, did not accompany the Canucks to Winnipeg on the charter after the game. He took a domestic flight the next day, but says he's okay. And there's Troy Murray, who has been doing a slow burn since the end of Game 5, on the ice for 7 of the 8 goals. Although John Paddock said that he was not individually responsible for any, but that performance didn't sit well with Troy. Deblois steps in for this face-off against Larionov. Puck loose and cleared by Babic. Off the boards to center ice. Larionov there, cleared to an open wing, and Darren Shannon has it for Winnipeg. Sergio Momesso, leading penalty man for the Canucks. Cleared it ahead. Bure just dumped to center ice. Lawler is chased by Larionov. And the steady Jet defenseman works to center. Ahead to the captain Murray, who deflects it in. We've played 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Shannon behind the goal to Murray. Davidoff's back on the ice. Home team has scored first in each of the 5 games so far. Momesso hands it to Murray. His pass broken up by Babic. On the right side to Larionov, inside the Winnipeg zone. Into the middle, Bure with room, blocked by Eagles. Bure has it again, lost it off his stick, and Shannon deflects it down the ice. McLean comes out of the net to play it. Feeds ahead to Larionov and Bure. Here comes Pavel inside the line, poke check by Housley. They leave it for Larionov. Lume's shot deflects high.
Pavel Bure and Igor Larionov, again another long shift, about a 2-minute job, and that not only they play tired, but it drives everybody else trying to get involved in the game nuts sitting on the bench.
That's Ryan Walter at center. The breakaway pass for Cron called on the offside. We played 4 minutes, 13 seconds of the first period in Game 6.
Pavel Bure had a goal and 3 assists in Game 5. He moved the puck around well. Now watch this. 1-on-3 again. Handles the puck. Look at his line mates. Waiting for a pass. And it's broken up at the blue line. Now watch Troy Murray try and get involved here with Sergio Momesso. And Momesso at the last minute sidesteps Murray, but good aggressive play by the Jet captain.
Mike Eagles against Ryan Walter, and Sean Cronin's on the ice for Winnipeg as the puck is cleared into Vancouver territory. Play whistle down. Olesen got caught up with Bill McCurry at the center ice line.
Eddie Olczyk is one of the players that John Paddock is counting on to score goals. A team that does not have a whole lot of offensive talent. They need Olczyk. He got a goal in that 8-2 game by driving to the net. One of the things he does so well, getting in the right position, and went off his backside and in, but that's what happens to the goal scorers. They get in the right spot, seem to go in. Now watch Bill McCurry and Frederick Olofsson get all tied up. Right at the red line, the whistle blown by linesman Gerard Pilcher.
Here's Olczyk, weak shot in on McLean. Olczyk made the point this morning. This is an enormous game for the entire Winnipeg organization, with expectations so high in this building and throughout the city and the province of Manitoba. Cronin knocks it back in, a delayed offside. Jets clear the line, and now it's Cron. Out to center, Broughton intercepts that. Aaron Broughton turns at center. Nice move on Cron, lost control, hit by Walter, but Olofsson moves up. Here's Frederick Olofsson, trying to get a shot away. It's rolled in front, they score! Keith Tkachuk.
We've talked all series about offense from the defense. Look at Frederick Olofsson and watch Keith Tkachuk drive to the net. Tkachuk comes into your picture, chips it up and over Kurt McLean. Now watch McLean go down early, and then Tkachuk gets a sand wedge out, chips it up and over the goaltender. Jyrki Lumme couldn't clear. Kurt McLean talked about the first goal, try and get the crowd out of it. And it's the Winnipeg Jets who get the first goal, as Trevor Linden is talking it over with Keith Tkachuk now at the face-off at center ice.
It's Tkachuk's second goal of this series. 5:03, the time of the goal. And Frederick Olofsson made quite a play to make it happen. Aaron Broughton also gets an assist on the goal. Tkachuk from Olofsson and Broughton at 5:03. And here's Ulanov at center, feeds it ahead to Elnick. Housley joining the play. And a good defensive play there by Plavsic. Here's Ronning with the breakaway. Cliff Ronning looking for his first goal. Ronning scores! Cliff Ronning finally has broken his drought.
The Winnipeg Jets get caught off ice as Phil Housley jumps in and nobody covers up. Now watch Elnick try and feed Housley, and then nobody covers for Housley. There's Keith Tkachuk jumps up instead of back. And it's Cliff Ronning on the breakaway. Cute little move here on Rick Tabaracci. Fake to the backhand, go to the forehand, and slip it in before the net comes off the boarding.
It took 21 shots in the series for Cliff Ronning to score his first goal and first point. Just his second goal in the last 16 games. But more importantly, the Canucks answer the Jets quickly. 32 seconds between those two goals, and we're tied at 1. Ronning from Plavsic, and it's 1-1.
The young Keith Tkachuk, that's something he'll learn the more he plays in the NHL. Once you spot your defenseman flying up, you're the last man you have to cover up. That time Tkachuk overly aggressive, jumped in, nobody back as Ronning had the breakaway. Nice pass by Adrian Plavsic to set up Ronning for that breakaway try.
Referee Bill McCurry stepping in because Linden knocked down Davidoff before the face-off took place. There's Ulanov with it, ahead to Davidoff. Great wheels, fires it in. Olczyk after it first, an easy shot handled. Plavsic wraps it around the boards. Olofsson will keep it in, directs it toward the net. Randy Gregg, the veteran, out there for the Canucks. Here's a pass from Davidoff to Ulanov. Ulanov tried to tee that one up out of midair. Centered out in front, Steen to Ulanov. Flips it in, Davidoff couldn't redirect it. Broken stick, Ronning has lost his piece of lumber, and Olczyk shot cleared away by McLean. Randy Gregg flips it out, and the Canucks make a change. Davidoff back in with Steen. Weak shot goes wide. 13.5 minutes to go here in the first period at the arena, and it's a 1-1 game. Fergus, Peter Nedved, and Jim Sandlak. Sandlak missed the puck, and Ulanov has it. Ulanov seeing a lot of ice time in the first 7 minutes of this game. Shannon against the boards, working against Lidster. Ulanov ahead to Deblois. Deblois against Babbage. And it's Sandlak. Cross ice pass to Tom Fergus, who has a point in each game in this series. Mike Lawler. Look out, Sandlak had him lined up. Lawler goes down, can't clear it. Nedved for Doug Lidster. Snaps the shot high. Lidster goes after the rebound. Sandlak has it. Hands it to Troy Murray. Murray had trouble with it, but Newman sends away Darren Shannon. Pass hopped over his stick, that broken rotting stick giving them trouble. Here's Shannon centering it, and Murray skated by it. Didn't see it coming. Murray with one hand gets it into the slot, and Lidster feeds it ahead to Fergus. Fergus at center. Newman intercepts the pass, but falls down. Frederick Olofsson on the move again. Here's Olofsson inside the line, checked on the play by Lume. Broughton almost stole it. And here's Lume to center ice. His pass hopped over the stick of Bure. Olofsson down the right side this time. Lined up by Dirk. Olofsson sticks with it. Up against the boards, Tkachuk. Behind the goal for Broughton. Housley goes to the net. Broughton clears behind the goal, and it's Dirk there. Hands it to Eagles. Wrap around. Oh, and that one dropped on the line. Close call there, and the Canucks clear it out.
Much more aggressive Winnipeg Jet team. Their defensemen getting involved. Their forwards forechecking better, and the Canucks having some trouble in their own zone.
Back up on the mesh, and play blown down as Momesso and Ulanov exchange words.
With good pressure. Now watch Mike Eagles wrap this one around. It hits Kurt McLean's stick. Goes up, over his back, and out the other side. Canucks get a break that didn't hit McLean, and earlier, again, good forechecking by the Jets. Troy Murray just misses it as it hit Dave Babbich's skate.
Out of town, no score yet in Bloomington, where the North Stars are trying to finish the Red Wings. And at the St. Louis Arena, no score first period. Hawks would like to win that tonight. There's a former Black Hawk ready to take the face-off in his own zone. Captain Troy Murray with the Canucks control. Plavsic puts it in front. Murray has his man tied up. Murray shoots, scores! What a blast! And Vancouver has the lead.
Right from the face-off, the Vancouver Canucks set it up, and they get a break on the pass out as it hits a jet skate. Mike Lawler right there, and goes to Pavel Bure. Now watch Bure tees it up, and from there he goes by Rick Tabarachi. Bure gets in a good position to shoot this one, and you see right in the middle, gets good wood on it. No chance for Tabarachi.
Pavel Bure with his third goal of this series. Tied Trevor Linden's team record with 4 points in Game 5 and has the go-ahead goal here for the Canucks in Game 6. Randy Gregg just got it outside the line. Cleared back in by Mike Lawler. And the Canucks have accomplished what they set out to do here in this first period. Take the crowd out of the game. Bure again. That shot deflects high, and they're ducking in the crowd. 10 minutes, 40 seconds to go in the first period. Ronning and Bure have answered the goal by Keith Tkachuk. Well, they break that up. Bure from Plavsic and Momesso at 8:42.
There are differing opinions on what it means to be Canadian. But the classic definition is as follows. To be Canadian, you must be clean, cold, and crisp. Because this is what beer's all about.
Here's another shot of the goal. Now look at Pavel Bure get a chance to tee it up. Mike Lawler gets out, but not in time. And it goes up and over Rick Tabarachi's glove. The Jets have given Bure a little more room early in this game, but after the whistle, watch Mike Lawler come over, get a little piece of Bury, and then Sergio Momesso comes to his aid. Now watch Bury right here. Slashes at Lawler, no penalties called.
Sean Cronin feeding it ahead to Davidov, who missed the pass at center ice. Davidov with Olczyk and Steen. Olczyk started on the fourth line in this game, but now is back up with his old line mates. Cronin hits Steen with that pass. Bumps into Walter, and Steen takes possession. Jets work it to center. And it's Davidov clearing it in. Olczyk in after it. Checks Lidster on the play. Davidov's in front, but Lidster in turn regains possession. Up to Courtnall, who wraps it down the ice. Cronin touches the puck, and we'll have another face-off in the Vancouver zone.
You know, there's real magic in Diet Pepsi. It's got that special aha ingredient.
You got the right one, baby. Diet Pepsi,
You got the right one, baby. Hey. Okay, girls. Now, what's that magic ingredient?
With 100%
Welcome back to Winnipeg at the arena in St. Louis. Norris action, Game 6, the Hawks and the Blues. That's Keith Brown with 8 points now in the playoffs. He shoots it, the assist on Jeremy Roenick's third of the postseason. It's 1-0 Blackhawks.
John, if the first 10 minutes of the game are as important as both teams said it would be beforehand, then the Canucks have a big edge here.
And Pavel Bure with a point early in this game, his first road point of the series.
Ulanov wraps it behind the goal. Pat Elnick trying to knock it off the mesh. And the puck gloved by Robert Dirk, and they hold it for a faceoff.
And a big goal for Cliff Ronning to get him going. He was squeezing the stick a little tighter. We were giving him a hard time before the game, asking him if he was asking Doug Lidster and Dave Babich on a few tips on how to score, but a guy who can get 89 goals in his last year junior has a touch around the net.
Even Kirk McLean had a point before he did, but Ronning is a great offensive threat, and it was only a matter of time. 7 of his 24 goals this year were scored on the road, so it's interesting that he would score his first of the playoffs away from the Pacific Coliseum. And as far as the Canucks are concerned, couldn't happen at a better time. Now if they could get Greg Adams going, he's the other struggling Canuck.
They have Adams playing with Ronning. I think they paired the two of them together along with their captain Trevor Linden. Try and get them both going at the same time.
Good look at Aaron Broughton on the faceoff. Vancouver controls, and there is Greg Adams. Clearing it in. Ulanov for the Jets. Pass to Housley, who is standing right in the goal crease. Trevor Linden up with it. Here's Linden. Watched by Broughton and Housley. Stays with it. Ronning. Adams in front. Tabarachi with a good poke check there. Kachuk up ahead. Elnick watched by Dirk. And here's Linden turning back. Drops it for Adams. Cross for Ronning. Missed him with the pass, and Ulanov comes forward ahead to Elnick. Leaves it for Ulanov inside the line, but the Jets were on a change, and now Linden has room. Trevor Linden the shot right on. And Elnick for the Jets off the glass out to center. 8 minutes, 52 seconds left, first period. It's 2-1 Vancouver, scoring 2 in a row after the Jets had opened the scoring. Plavsic with a pair of assists, touches it, icing the call, and Plavsic takes exception with that hit after the whistle by Mike Eagles. Shots on goal, 7-6, favoring the Jets, but they trail.
Game within a game, the defenseman joining the rush. Winnipeg 6 times already, Frederick Olofsson in particular, and the Canucks have forechecked well. They have 3 hits already in the offensive zone and creating some turnovers. Watch this good forechecking by Cliff Ronning. Makes the bad pass, and in comes Trevor Linden. Good control by Linden, uses his size on Phil Housley. And watch Greg Adams in front. He's all by himself. Look at Adams. But Rick Tabarachi gets his stick on it and tips it away.
some problem with the ice just outside the Jet blue line, and that's why we have a delay. Asked Trevor Linden after the game what the mood was like before Game 5, and he said the players got together and decided that the season had just been too successful for it to end as quickly and with such great disappointment as it could have on Sunday night.
Sunday night they played with such emotion, something we hadn't seen in the first 4 games. And the Vancouver Canucks this season have played with that kind of emotion for most of the regular season, but seem to have lacked a little respect for the Jets going into this series. Got it back, trailing 3-1.
Look at the intensity on the face of Mike Eagles, set for this draw that he wins against Peter Nedved. Numminen ahead to Sykes. Eagles bumped it center by Sandlak. Randy Gregg to an open wing. Nedved picks it up there. Nedved with Ferguson Sandlak. There's Fergus. Hit by Lawler. Lawler and Fergus go down. Nedved in the corner to Sandlak. 2 goals in Game 5. Fergus's shot is blocked. Lawler has it and clears it out. Phil Sykes on the ice, an interesting story. He was with the Kings in '89 when they bounced back from 3-1 to beat the Oilers, and also with the Jets in '90 when they squandered the 3-1 lead against Edmonton. Here's Davidoff with room, fires the shot. McLean may have got a piece of that as it went wide. Cronin up ahead to Davidoff. Turned back by Lidster. Over to Olesen. Olesen bumped by Sandlak. Now Lidster overskates it. It goes to McLean, who clears it away from Troy Murray. Babic feeds it ahead. Broken up by Deblois. Lucien Deblois clears it back in on goal, and it's called on the offside as McLean played it before the Jet player got outside the line.
Sandlak has played well all series long, probably the most effective Canuck forward here on Frederick Olesen. Good solid hit, he and Sergio Momesso. And then earlier on, Mike Eagles, the smaller player, tries to duck under Sandlak, but Sandlak effectively takes him into the boards.
They call him House in Vancouver. You know, after that first hit on Olesen, there's a strange hop off the boards. McLean surprised by that one. On that first hit against Olesen, John Paddock jumped up on the bench, wanted to see a penalty for cross-checking. Lawler chased back in his own zone by Larionov, but now skates to center ice. Mike Lawler, not known for his rushing, feeds it in, kicked aside by McLean. Deblois in the corner, then out to Troy Murray. Murray took a look and overskated the puck. Back to the point, there's the shot. It goes wide. Murray after it. The Jet captain watched by Larionov. Still looking for his first point in this series. Murray persistent. Now it comes back to the point. Numminen with the backhand into the corner. Murray's there. Looks in front. Shannon backhand right on. And now the Canucks start back. Momesso out at center ice. Chris crosses with Bure and clears it in.
Good pressure by the Winnipeg Jets, something we didn't see at all in Game 5. They've had more good scoring chances here in the first 15 minutes than they had in the entire game in Game 5.
6 minutes, 18 seconds to go here in the first period. 2-1 Vancouver. Shannon at center ice. McLean hands it off to Lume. Ahead to Ryan Walter. Rink wide it goes. Courtnall speeds after it. Housley there for Winnipeg. Ryan Walter against the boards. Courtnall Cron going to the net. The play whistle down. We've got a penalty coming up. Davidoff took a high stick. And let's see, this might be a major. Now Davidoff pushed at Courtnall. It appears the Jets will have the first power play of the game.
You know, whether I'm polishing the fenders or tearing down the engine, I like to go to Canadian Tire, especially during this week's Here Comes the Sun event, where they've got big savings on everything you need for your car.
Filter wrench.
Filter wrench, honey, we're fixing the car.
Finish 2001 goes on easy. Regular polish requires a lot of rubbing and buffing. Just look at the difference. This week only, Finish 2001 is just $5.99 during Here Comes the Sun, only at Canadian Tire.
Robert Cron takes a high sticking penalty at 14:06. Now watch the high stick. Davidov and Kron jousting, and right there, Kron gives him a little tap in the mouth. And earlier on that shift, you see John Paddock shouting encouragement to his team. He's talking to Davidov here. He doesn't want to have too many men on the ice. He's waiting for Derek Shannon to dump the puck in. He wants a line change. If you do go to dump the puck in, make sure it goes all the way in so that you can make the clean line change.
First power play of the game going to the Jets. They're 6 for 29 in this series. That's 20.7%. And Housley will lead the rush. Elnick, Tkachuk. And here's Thomas Steen bursting in. Steen, and his shot goes wide. Housley. To Elnick, the lone point man right now is Olesen. Tkachuk is in front, jostling with Lume. Steen moves in, fires wide. Elnick on the near side. Tkachuk looking for the loose puck. And it's kicked free by Elnick. Steen, both of his goals in the series with the man advantage. And Lume clears it down the ice, and he thought he took a high stick and appealed to referee McCurry. Housley ahead. There's Tkachuk inside the line. Randy Gregg there for Vancouver. Olesen moves in, and they hold it for a face-off in the Vancouver zone. 1:06 left in the minor to Kron.
Because of the lopsided score in Game 5, Randy Gregg got lots of ice time. Get his confidence back and get his legs back, his game conditioning. And that was a break for the Canucks. And the score was that one-sided, as Gregg didn't play much early in that game, but played a lot in the last two periods.
The experience of 5 Stanley Cup rings won't hurt Randy Gregg or the Canucks in this critical game. As you can see, a lot went wrong for the Jets in Game 5, including the power play.
And the other game they lost, they were 0 for 5 also in Vancouver, so the games they lost 0 for 10. It's a big part of their offense because they don't have a whole lot of great talented players around the net.
I want to see what they do in Winnipeg at Halloween, because they do a pretty good job in April. Jets, by the way, 4 for 13 with the man advantage here at home in this series. Housley will lead the rush to center. Now hands it off to the speedy Davidov. Davidov over the line, drops to Housley. There's Olesen. Aaron Broughton tried to put it in front. Plavsic broke that up. Broughton gets it back. 37 seconds to go in the power play. Olesen has some room. Shot blocked by Linden. Davidov went after it. Olczyk cleared it around the boards. Olesen will pinch in and get it. Watched by Linden. Behind the net again. Olczyk to Davidov. Jets looking for the tying goal. Davidov winds up. Blocked by Gregg. Olczyk against Gregg in the corner. Davidov against the boards. Working against Ryan Walter. Comes free for Olczyk. Now Davidov knocks it to the point. Housley with 3 seconds to go in the man advantage. Olesen. Penalties over. Shot right on. Threw a screen and a deflection, but McLean got a piece of it. Now Kron. Back with Linden. 2-on-1. Linden and Tabaracci got a piece of that, and it deflects over the glass and out of play. Not much happened on the power play, but as soon as it was over, Pat Quinn's Canucks got a great scoring chance.
Robert Kron is a great skater. He came out of the penalty box, used his speed, and this is what the Jets need, is a big save from Tabaracci. That shot's a good save by Kirk McLean, but watch this. Robert Kron using his speed, and look at Tabaracci come across on Linden. Linden can't one-time it as he had to reach too far. That gave Tabaracci enough time to slide over and make the save. Now watch Linden reaching for this pass. It's so far in front of him, he can't just one-time it. He has to wait, take the shot. That gives Tabaracci time to recover.
Despite the 5 goals allowed in 27 shots on Sunday, Tabaracci has the 3rd best save percentage in the playoffs so far, behind Mike Richter and Tom Draper.
Here in this period, the Canucks' good chances, they've had only 3 or 4, but 2 of them went in. And that's what the Jets needed, was a big save from their goaltender to keep it close.
Murray has words for Jerry Pateman because he didn't drop the puck in. And when he does, Murray wins the draw. Momesso almost stole it. Out at center ice, Lawler gives chase. Beaten to the puck by Lidster. Now Lawler and Momesso meet at the line, and it's Numminen. Teppo Numminen, left wing to Shannon. He couldn't control it. Numminen will try it again. On the other side to Lawler. He shoots it in. Murray there for Winnipeg. Shannon is tied up along the boards. Murray gets another chance. He's being watched by Larionov. Murray spins off the check, now loses his stick. Larionov clears ahead to Momesso. Momesso takes a look, sees where Bure is, hits the line. Babbage joins the rush. Momesso fires, that's blocked. Now Bure comes across, picks up the loose puck, just keeps it in. 2 minutes, 45 seconds to go. First period, 2-1. Canucks lead it. Lume to Larionov. Almost lost it to Steen. Lume again. Numminen broke that up. Clears it down the ice. Dirk back to touch it. And icing the call. Jets have outshot the Canucks 10-7 so far in the first period.
Priority Courier, I have a pickup.
Call Priority Courier for overnight delivery, and you're dealing with Canada's largest courier network. You've got the whole country covered. Evenings and weekends too. Priority Courier gets it there overnight, guaranteed. Because your priorities are ours.
Don't forget the grape one in the coach's corner in the first intermission. And I'll tell you what, if he did coach's corner in the rink, nobody would leave here. And of course, Game 6 of that Adams semi tomorrow, Canadians and Whalers from the Civic Center. Canadians trying to end that series. They were on the run last night, trailing 3-1 before they came back for their victory. Sean Cronin behind the goal. Feeds it ahead, and that pass just over the stick of Thomas Steen. And it's another icing call against the Jets.
Pat Quinn has done a good job keeping his team's highs not too high and his lows not too low this season. And even when they were trailing 3-1 in this series, they still appeared to have a confident air about them. And they showed it in Game 5.
Interesting the way he stressed the Canucks' defensive performance in Game 5, even though the big story was 8 goals.
It's easy to play a good defensive game when you have the puck all night, and the Vancouver Canucks did in Game 5. Carried the play completely to the Jets.
Eddie O was saying it was lucky the score wasn't worse as far as the Jets were concerned. Will Housley on the boards for Olczyk. Robert Dirk moved up on him. Ulanov near side to Steen. Steen, the leading scorer for the Jets in this series. Tied up there, Nedved came in. Now Fergus has the loose puck. He's checked. Housley was moving forward but lost possession. But he was backed up by Ulanov. Now Housley's loose. Working into Eagles. Mike Eagles snaps the shot to McLean. Handles that one easily. McLean not happy about the way the Jets skated to the net. Somebody knocked the net off, but Kirk's not happy.
Noticeably absent behind the Jet bench tonight. Greg Hessinger is at the hospital with his wife. We'd like to pass on our congratulations to Craig and Vicky. And a future NHL goaltender, Jacob Lindsay, 7 pounds, 1 ounce, born this evening. And I'm sure Craig is enjoying watching the game with his new son.
Terrific. Cliff Ronning has a goal in this first period. Abel Bure the other for Vancouver. Keith Tkachuk had opened the scoring for Winnipeg. But the crowd hadn't finished cheering that Tkachuk goal when Ronning came back 32 seconds later. As Ronning gets set for this face-off against Aaron Broughton, who kicks it free. Housley takes the shot. That was blocked in front. Canucks clear it to the line. Kept in by Ulanov. Ronning missed it. Elnick against the boards, into the corner. Broughton lets it go. Gregg takes a hit from Elnick. There's Ulanov as the Jets defense standing right up, but now they'll have to retreat. Here comes Adams to the line. Dropped the pass, no one there. And Housley takes over. Ulanov on this near side. If you're just joining us, Randy Carlyle, a late scratch. Apparently a knee injury incurred in Game 5, more serious than the Jets had first let on. Under a minute to go now in the first period. We have been given the indication that the Jets were not planning any lineup changes tonight, but after the warm-up, which Carlyle took, he was scratched. Andy Gregg ahead to Trevor Linden. There's Plavsic with a pair of assists in this first period. Hits the line with Adams. Sharp angle shot handled by Tabaracci. Linden in to scoop up the loose puck. Has room, shot right on. Adams to Ronning. Spins away from Eagles. Linden's in front. Now Lawler in on Ronning, and he takes the puck away. 20 seconds to go as Lawler comes to center. Murray and Sykes on the ice. Jets completing a line change. Adams has it slide by him. It's Housley at his own line. Murray almost lost it to Larionov. And that will do it for the first period, and it was a good one for the Vancouver Canucks. For the sixth straight time, the home team scores first, but the visiting team answers right back. Coming up in our first intermission, Don Cherry with Ron McLean in the coach's corner. And the score at the end of the first period at the arena in Winnipeg, it's the Canucks 2, the Jets 1.
Pavel. Well, what about the game, Don?
Well, I think Tabaracci, like I said, is playing a great game, and that's the only thing that's keeping the Jets going. Great saves, great saves.
Let's get into Pavel Bure, the biggest game of the Vancouver Canucks year, bar none, and he comes through with a goal and 3 assists in Game 5, and now tonight has put the Canucks ahead on the road. Will you relent, confess, admit that Bure is tremendous? I mean,
just a minute. You know, I open myself up. I often wonder why I do this. I go into Vancouver, I say what I feel about Bure. I open myself up. He's a good skater, good shooter. You know he's going to get points eventually. But I'm up there, Canadians are the best, Canadians the best. I get ripped to shreds in Vancouver, get ripped to shred everywhere.
Bad write-ups.
Just a minute, that's right. Bad right. Those left-wing pinkos, I don't care. He scores, you look at me with that, he, I'm going to get you, you know? So you get, after a while, it's only the first series, and I'm thinking, what, I got the middle of June, I'm going to get this everywhere I go. And then something happened yesterday, even me, I get a little, you wonder, something happened yesterday, St. James were practicing out here in Winkler. So I'm sitting up there by myself, just sitting there, and after they were through, they all crowded around me, were asking me questions.
Can I just say the junior teams participating in the Stanley Cup? Not everybody.
Right, well, anyhow, they do. And they come around, they're asking me questions, and, you know, going through the whole thing, and we're having fun. I was in my element with the hockey players and everything, you know? And you know what they said as they left? Look, Grapes, I want to thank you, one for us, for all of us, sticking up for us. And saying Canadians are the best. We're out there working on the ice. We're dedicating our lives. Just a minute. You had yours say. Dedicating our lives. Well, you're having it now. I'm having mine now. Dedicating our lives. We know you're taking a lot of heat in the players, but Grapes, keep it up. Don't pay any attention to those guys. We love you. Hockey players love me. Left-wing pinko writers. I couldn't care less. Write all you want I love it because those guys love me, and that's all I care about.
But nobody is saying there's anything wrong with Canadian junior hockey or Canadians playing in the National Hockey League, but just admit that Europeans can contribute and that former Soviets, now members of the CIS,
I'm a redneck guy, just CIS. I'm telling you, I cannot believe how I sold a guy, you stopped on his sweater. I sold a guy the first game, he did nothing the first game.
He's a keeper.
Just a minute. He did nothing the first game, the second game, because as Canadians, we have an inferiority complex. My mouth is so dry now I could drive somebody. We have an inferiority complex. I have none. Players have none. You people might love the Russians, the Swedes, and everything. I love young Canadian hockey players. I still love them, always will. I know those other guys are good. Fedorchov, Nechinov, all those guys are good. But I'm pumping Canadians. Do what you like.
Well, that's
next
fair.
time they
what
score.
About Boston winning?
Just a minute.
That's fair. No,
just a minute. The next time he scores, you go he again.
Well,
I'm glad. Thank you guys for saying that. Boston, my mouth's so dry now. I'm kind of emotional here.
Canada dry.
John Muckler, I have to admire him, and he can go and get a team after they lose at home in overtime and get them back again. I have to eat a little crow there too, that he could get Buffalo to turn it around going there. That's the hardest job in hockey to do.
Now, I don't want to get you riled up any more than you are, feeling passionate about the Canadian juniors in Winnipeg, but what about Darian Hatcher getting 3 games for the shot on Kevin Miller, where he took his stick, turned the blade over, just as he had done with Dino Ciccarelli.
I know.
Second-time offender, and I don't have anything against Darian, but...
I know when you do that, he's got a bad reputation. The guy was fallen this time, and I know I don't want to get into that. There's enough going on. We could have showed the Moog thing last night, but I want to show one thing. We got to go now. You hit me. We got to go.
Go ahead.
All right. One little thing I'd like to show you. I'd like to show you Lucien Delbois and all you kids out there. Here's what Lucien is doing. We got time. Can we show that, Mark? Now look up. He's going to look up here. You know what he's doing when he gets it back? He's praying. He's saying, "Thank you, God." All hockey players before a game pray before a game. And all you kids, and listen, I'm the toughest guy in the world. I've never heard the Lord's name taken in vain in the dressing room by a coach. Remember that. After that, it's fair game. But never, ever, because pro hockey players never take the Lord's name in vain, and mark that on the wall. I just thought I'd throw that at the end.
Don Cherry in the coach's corner on Molson Hockey Night in Canada. Love a Molson right now on CBC. Right now at Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, the Kings and the Oilers set to get underway. We'll have highlights of that as we move along. Goaltenders have been great in Minnesota so far. The Wings outshot Minnesota 12-7 in the opening period. Casey, terrific. So was Ed Belfour. The shots were 12-6 for the Blues, but Jeremy Roenick's third of the playoffs. The lone goal at the arena. The Hawks trying to wrap it on the road, and the Canucks trying to win on the road to send it back to the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. Pavel Bure's third is the go-ahead goal. They lead at the end of 20 minutes of play by a score of 2-1. Ford of Canada celebrates 75 years of hockey history, and Ford trucks tonight. Number 4, Bobby Orr. More Ford after this. Hockey changed for the better in 1966. Bobby Orr arrived. The Bruins recognized what they had and quickly built their entire organization around his incredible talent. In 1970, the Bruins faced the St. Louis Blues in the final and won the championship with Orr providing the difference. Then, 2 years later, their arch-rival, the New York Rangers, became the victim of Orr's magic. As a result of these 2 sensational seasons, Bobby Orr became the first player in NHL history to capture 2 Conn Smythe trophies as the playoffs MVP. Ford of Canada celebrates 75 years of hockey history and Ford trucks.
Of Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC has been brought to you by...
2 seconds later, Clip Roding with his first of this series. Pavel Bure with his third. And that's why Vancouver's up after 20.
The shot by Bure on the bounce off Mike Lawler's skate. You see Lawler reach for the puck, and it goes right through Mike Lawler and past Rick Tabaracci. The Jets much more aggressive in Game 6. Pat Elenick with a good solid hit. watch Mike Eagles as Randy Gregg again is the recipient of a good solid body check by one of the Winnipeg Jet forwards. 6 hits by the Canuck forwards. That's more than they had in Game 3 in the entire game here in Winnipeg. Defensemen joining the rush. Much more active tonight with 9 times they jumped up. Especially early in that period, the Jets defensemen were very active.
Ready for period 2, and they're starting to make some noise at the White House, but the Canucks silenced this crowd in the first period. From the draw, Ulanov hands it right to the captain, Trevor Linden. Linden lost it, and now Broughton on the move. Here's Broughton in the slot, banned on the shot, and Greg Adams turns back. Adams, Ronning, Linden starting for the Canucks in the second period. Adams overskates it. Linden goes after it. He's up against Ulanov. Broughton helped out, couldn't clear it. Adams back to Linden. 3 shots first period. There's a chance. Lidster, Ronning scores! And Cliff Ronning is officially out of the slump now.
Amazing what one goal can do for a good sniper like Cliff Ronning. The confidence is back. And again, the Canucks get a nice little bounce in front of the Winnipeg net. Here's the pass. Now watch this shot by Lidster is blocked by Housley. It goes right back to Lidster, over to Ronning, and look at Ronning. Pull it back to his forehand. Get it up and over Rick Tabaracci. Now watch Ronning coolly pull it back and make sure that the goaltender's got no chance whatsoever.
Well, they scored 32 seconds after the first goal of the game by the Jets, and now 34 seconds into the second period, it's Ronning again. Another big goal, and the Canucks lead by 2. Peter Nedved clears it back in. Ronning, Lidster, and Linden on the scoring play at the 34-second mark. Olesen starts back for Winnipeg. Here's Olczyk. Broken up by Dirk, off the boards and down the ice. And Olesen touches it, icing the call.
And that is Trevor Linden's first point on the road for the Vancouver Canucks. Look at Pat Quinn and what he did with Philadelphia when they were on that 35-game unbeaten streak while he was a coach. Same thing as with the Canucks. Keep them nice and calm and cool. Now watch Doug Lidster all by himself. Good play by Housley. They get a bad bounce. It goes right back to Lidster. And look at it. Pull to the forehand. No chance for Rick Tabaracci.
Doug Lidster suggested that he sensed the Jets tiring in Game 5.
And heavy hitting by the Canucks, a bigger team wearing them down. And without Randy Carlyle, that's a big hole in your defense to fill. The other 4 playing a lot. Dean Kennedy only had 1 shift in the first period.
Troy Murray digs it free, but Larionov is there for Vancouver. Dumped it in front. McLean tries to clear it. Dangerous pass by Larionov. Now Mike Lawler at the point trying to work in. Centers in front. Deblois just missed it. Goes back to Murray covering Lawler's point. He wraps it around the boards. Newman gives chase. Beat Bure to it. There's Deblois back to Lawler. Tees it up. Shot is blocked by Larionov. Momesso working for it. Had possession momentarily. Deblois knocked it away. Shannon behind the goal. Jets trying to get something going. Down by 2 here early in period 2. Momesso at center ice with Bure. Momesso snaps the shot, then Tabaracci hangs on.
Tabaracci and net again for the Winnipeg Jets was so outstanding in the first 4 games, and then the start of Game 5 that he plays an ordinary game, although he's had no chance on the goals by the Vancouver Canucks. Pavel Bure on the rush. Now watch Mike Lawler grab a hold of Bure right there, tries to pull him offside, but he makes sure that Bure doesn't get involved, can't go to the net for a rebound, and it's been Lawler or Newman out against Bure for most of this series.
Lawler will be Ron McLean's guest in the second intermission. And his role becomes even more important with the absence of Randy Carlyle. Nedved against Thomas Steen on this draw in the Winnipeg zone. Olesen ahead to Olczyk. He had 3 shots for Winnipeg in period 1. There's a shot right on goal off the stick of Sandlak. Olczyk now to center ice. Steen. Sean Cronin looking for Olczyk, broken up by Babbage. Doug Lidster made the big play on the 3rd Canuck goal, and play whistled down. 17:51 left, second period. We'll be right back after this message.
Coliseum, the Oilers are trying to finish off the Los Angeles Kings this evening. Peter Klima in the corner to Josef Baranek. Baranek scores his second of the playoffs at 1:39. The Oilers lead.
Peter Nedved getting more ice time. Inserted in the lineup after the Canucks had lost a couple of games. He's played pretty well. He's not a very aggressive player, but a good offensive player, and has played pretty well defensively. Something you didn't see a whole lot out of during the regular season from Peter Nedved.
Cronin at his own blue line, and now Olesen goes back into his own zone. Vancouver Canucks were eliminated in 6 games a year ago, trying to avoid that here. On the move, Olczyk, left wing shot, blocked by McLean. And Babbage, who has had a strong series, lugs it out for Vancouver. Clears it in. Tabarachi out of the goal, off the boards. Cronin is there, takes a bump, but gets it ahead, and it's Davidov. Inside the line was Steen, and Davidov's shot, look out, deflected off the stick of Doug Lidster, high into the crowd.
Much like Pavel Bure, Evgeny Davidov tends to try and handle the puck himself. By the time he lets his shot go, he's right in the corner, and Doug Lidster has him at an impossible angle. Now watch Lidster keep Davidov outside. The Jets go to the net, and Davidov decides he's going to shoot it. Now look at where he shoots it from. He's past the hash marks, and even if that shot gets by, Kurt McLean's going to have no trouble with that.
6 stitches, courtesy of our camera the other night, with a lot of help from Jim Sandlak. He says the tension in the Stanley Cup playoffs far exceeds what he experienced at the Olympics and the World Championships he's competed in. There's Broughton against Ryan Walter on this faceoff. Broughton, an amazing story in that he did not play the first 3 months of the year when hunting. Here's a chance in front after he was demoted by the Leafs. Back comes Courtnall. Cron is the trailer. Dirk going to the net. Cron shot handled easily by Tabarachi, and again Canucks going to the net, knocking it ajar.
Aaron Broughton, you talk about a smaller player with some toughness. 5 of the 6 seasons he was in New Jersey, he played all 80 games, and this year the Jets didn't have any players who played all 80 games. Canucks driving to the net, trying to get in front of Tabarachi. They've done a good job tonight. You look at where their goals have come from, and here's Robert Dirk, the defenseman, driving in at Tabarachi. And a good play by Dirk. He knows he's caught up ice, and he's going to get the whistle, so he makes sure that he knocks the net off. He's a defenseman. Now watch. He makes sure that that net comes off, so there's a whistle, and he doesn't get trapped.
He certainly has been a physical presence in this series.
One of the many sports books out by Brett Hull talks about Robert Dirk and how he had never, ever seen Robert Dirk lose a fight.
And who knows, Dirk might write his own book. He is writing for one of the Vancouver papers in this playoff series. From the faceoff, Cron's shot blocked by Ulanov. Courtnall knocked his man down, and now Housley has it. Phil Housley leads the Jets to center ice. And behind the play, a whistle and a penalty. That's Courtnall down.
You remember, Courtnall was the victim of that Igor Ulanov attempted spear, and this time it's Mike Eagles who's going to get a slashing penalty. Jeff Courtnall, Larry Ashley out tending to one of the infamous Courtnall brothers. Now watch Eagles right here on Courtnall. Gets a stick in his legs, hauls him down, and Courtnall's up, being helped off the ice.
Our Stanley Cup coverage continues in a moment.
Presenting your Leamington All-Star Car and Truck Dealing Team.
Marathon Ford.
Jack Easy Pontiac Buick.
Mike Fair, Chevrolet Geo Cadillac.
Leamington Chrysler. Leamington Honda.
In Leamington, the bases are loaded in your favor.
We're striking out high prices.
Tired of running those bases? Absolutely no hassle.
And that's the old triple play.
Great deals, low prices, friendly people.
We're out to move hundreds of new and used cars and trucks.
Your Leamington All-Star Car and Truck Dealing Team. Now dealing.
Yay!
Chris, you mentioned that Cordnell had knocked Eagles down in the corner. Now here's a little reaction from Eagles. Now is this a slash or a hook or maybe even a little bit of a spear? Cordnell goes down. It was called slashing by Bill McCreary.
And so the Canucks get their first power play of the game, already up by 2, 0 for 10 at the Winnipeg Arena on the power play in this series. Dave Babbage hands it off to Ronning. Ronning with Linden and Adams up front. Plavsic and Babbage are the point men. Teppo Numminen for the Jets. Can't clear it. Babbage has it right point. Shot right on. Tabarachi kicked that one out. Numminen lost control to Adams. Goes after it in the corner. Linden beat him to it, but Linden's pass to the point goes down the ice. Vancouver 3 for 30 on the power play in this series, but they had 2 in Game 5. Adams after the puck, gets it to Ronning. Babbage. Here's Ronning with a pair of goals tonight. Hangs on, Plavsic moves in. Shot blocked, there's a shot right on. Tabarachi the stop. Murray with it, around the boards, Babbage is there. Darren Shannon trying to check him. Babbage has it. Down low it goes to Adams. Linden's in front. Plavsic moved in, now moves back out again. Ronning fires wide. There's Plavsic. In for the captain. Dragged down by Numminen. Now Numminen reaches for it against Ronning. Lawler up with it. He put it over the glass, and now Ronning. Check that. Adams and Lawler stare at each other and have words. Numminen and Linden there too.
The Jets trying to clear the net in front of Rick Tabarachi, and it's Mike Lawler who is the recipient of that check by Adams. And there's Adams and Linden trying to get in front of Tabarachi, and look at Lawler tying Linden up. And Adams, little chops by Mike Lawler. And Adams still there, and look at Lawler, good smart player, stays between, close enough so he can react, and then he reacts there. Adams at an impossible angle. And watch at the end of the play, a little touch by Greg Adams right behind Bill McCreary. And no penalty called. Fans trying to get back into this. Big penalty kill for the Winnipeg Jets. Give them something to cheer about.
31 seconds left in the Canuck power play. Vancouver with a 3-1 lead. Larionov and Bure out with Momesso now. Jets control the face-off, can't clear it though. Here's Lume, chopped by Broughton. Lume back to Larionov, covering at the point. Here's a chance for Bure right on. Tabarachi holds on.
Larionov to Bure, and you see Bure come over and thank him for that pass, but by the time Bure takes a shot, he's almost in the corner. Tabarachi reads the play well, but watch this pass from Larionov. Nice, soft, flat pass. But look at where Bure is. Deep past the face-off dot, and Tabarachi makes the save. Left-handed shot coming out from behind the net. He has a better angle, but still not a great one. Gets good wood on it, but Tabarachi is already there.
Prior to Game 5, I said to Igor Cooperman, you've really put a blanket on Bure, and he laughed. He said the expression in Russian is put a stone jacket on. Well, Bure has taken the stone jacket off. Lidster faked the shot. Lume. There's Bure. He has the other goal for the Canucks tonight. Cross ice. Lidster shooting. And that hit a skate in front. Bure right on. Now the Jets back at full strength. Trying to clear it out, but Momesso kept it in, or did he? No, it's called by Jerry Gauthier at the line. So the Jets, looking for a spark, have killed that Canuck power play.
Today, Pepsi announced a new slogan. Mere words? Or is a taste of Pepsi so big, America's really got to have it?
Gotta have it. It's something I felt for years, but never had the words to express.
If it's so popular, how come everybody's drinking it?
Henry's only regret is that he started drinking Pepsi this late in life.
The phrase gotta have it strikes a chord deep in the human psyche.
Now that everybody's gotta have it, Pepsi's not gonna need celebrity endorsers anymore.
And that's what I've been saying all along.
Don't forget, tomorrow night, it's Game 6 of that Adams semi. The Canadians and the Whalers from the Civic Center in Hartford. And if necessary, we'll be at the Pacific Coliseum Thursday, where I'm sure they'd be making plenty of noise, too, for Game 7.
Pavel Bure at the side of the net on that power play, hit by Frederick Olofsson. Just to make sure, as the Canucks do try and set it up for Pavel Bure. Olofsson right there.
For Jet fans, that great Olofsson rush, which led to the first goal, seemed like it was hours ago. Olofsson may take another foray into the zone. Olczyk shot high, and that has everybody ducking in the crowd behind Kirk McLean.
Again, Frederick Olofsson leading the rush, but Ed Olczyk unable to keep that shot down low enough on Kirk McLean. The BBJ on the side of Eddie Olczyk's helmet. U.S. Olympian and U.S. World Championship team, played for Bob Johnson. Our playoffs dedicated on CBC to Bob Johnson this year. Great day for hockey, and all the American players who are in the NHL at one time or another, most of them played for Badger Bob.
Courtnall back on the ice, bumped by Olofsson, and Olczyk clears it in. Kirk McLean around the boards. Davidoff had a bounce over his stick. Linden gets it out. Here's a 2-on-1. Ronning and Courtnall against Olofsson. Ronning right in. Maybe went too far, and Tabarachi made the save. Well, you can never say that, though, with Ronning, because he's so quick. He looked like he went by the net, but came back, had so much time, got a tough shot on goal. Olczyk right on. Kicked away by McLean.
That was all started by a puck that bounced off Bill McCreary's foot as Sean Cronin was pitching in.
Here's Courtnall back inside the zone. There's the shot blocked by Housley. Tabarachi flips it in the corner. Linden there for Vancouver. Linden dumped on the play, and now it's Housley skating out. Ahead to Olczyk. Housley moving in on the play. Fires it, and another shot high. Tell you what, it's been a rough period for those fans. In behind Kirk McLean. 13:08 to go, second period.
Pinches in because he thinks that puck's going around, but look at Bill McCreary. Was off his foot. Here's a 2-on-1. And Cliff Ronning, watch Rick Tabarachi, waits. Ronning goes behind the net, he gets back up, and then makes a good stop. And that could be a game saver. Remember that one. Should the Jets come back, it's a lot easier to come back from 3-1 than 4-1.
Shots now 18-12 favoring Vancouver. The Jets with just 2 shots on goal so far in period 2. Here's Bure back in, wrist shot wide. Shannon ahead to Troy Murray. Murray right wing feed to Deblois. The winning goal in Game 3, bumped by Dirk. Momesso takes a hit from Murray. Shannon hits his man. This line coming out aggressively to start this shift. Murray knocks down Lume. Fans react. Lume stays with it and comes up with possession. Ahead to Momesso, and he dumps it out to center ice. Murray chops it down. Mike Lawler back into his own zone to Newman. Ahead to Deblois. Lead pass just off the stick of Shannon. McLean with a little stick handling to Momesso. Lariana hit by Murray. Lawler takes over. Kachuk came over the boards. He goes after it. Up against Robert Dirk. Momesso ahead to Lariana. Housley watching him. And now the fans starting to make some noise again. Puck cleared by the Canucks down the ice. Ulanov back to get it and icing the call. So the fans trying to make some noise with their team down by 2.
It's the Magic Wagon Drive Home a Bargain event. Your Chrysler dealers of Ontario are personally driving home 750 specially ordered and specially built Dodge Caravans and Plymouth Voyageurs. Built in Windsor for Ontarians, they're equipped with a standard driver's side airbag, optional V6 engine, all-wheel drive, anti-lock brakes, and a no-charge roof rack. Plus, special factory incentives. Take a test drive today and you can find your way home with a free road atlas. Advantage Chrysler.
At the arena in St. Louis, the pass by Chris Chelios was made with one hand, and the play by Roenick is equally great as he goes upstairs on Curtis Joseph, his 4th goal of the playoffs, 2nd of the night. The Blackhawks lead the Blues 2-0.
The sign of a confident goaltender is the way he handles the puck. Now watch Kurt McLean here. Waits, takes out his own defenseman, and then just feeds it up. Calm, cool, collected. That's the way McLean has played the whole series.
Cool, and you thought maybe superstitious we talked to before the game. Here's Olofsson right on. That's kicked out. We'll get to that in a minute. Cronin around the boards. There's a pile up in front. Broughton was knocked down in front by Nedved. Here's Tkachuk trying to come out in front. Olofsson moves in. Frederick Olofsson might get caught. Fergus. Up ahead it goes to Sandlak. Sandlak working against Cronin. Wrist shot right on. Sandlak after it, but Olofsson's back down. Olofsson, there's a funny hop off the boards. Nedved has it, circling in the Jet zone. Wrist shot goes high over the glass and out of play.
Oilers at home in Northlands Coliseum, trying to finish off the LA Kings. And Detroit facing elimination as Tim Cheveldae continues his role. And we just saw Jeremy Roenick, 2nd of the game in St. Louis as the Chicago Blackhawks try and finish off the Blues. I wonder about the Oates-Janney trade. Oates seems to be playing very well for Boston in the playoffs, and Craig Janney is doing his share for the Blues. Trade that probably help both players and both teams.
There's a good look at Davidoff. The players the Jets will be looking to now to provide an offensive spark. Lavsic shot is blocked. Ulanov hit by Courtnall. Housley goes back to get it. Jets will be looking at Housley to spark this attack as well. And here he comes. Hits the line, rolls it in. No Jet on that side of the ice though. And it's cleared out easily by the Canucks and Courtnall. Ulanov's got him lined up. There's the hit, down he goes. Elbow came up, penalty upcoming against Ulanov, who now knocks down Kron, and he better be careful. He may get more than one. Well, there were only 3 men down in that corner, Ulanov, Courtnall, and McCreary. And McCreary had the best look in the house at that one.
Now watch Ulanov and Courtnall right here. Courtnall tries to draw the penalty on the hook. And look at Courtnall when he gets up. Gives him a little shot right there with the stick. And Jerry Gauthier warns Courtnall. And they call him the Perminator here in Winnipeg. Right there, the Perminator has the elbow up and Courtnall goes down. Draws the penalty. He's from Perm, Siberia. Thus the Perminator term. And another little shot at Robert Kron. And the one thing Igor Ulanov has done since he's come to the Jets, he doesn't back down from anybody or anything.
Well, he had that set to with Jeff Courtnall here earlier in the series and was ousted for the game with the spearing penalty. So they've had a running feud. My chat with Igor Cooperman, he said even in Russia they had to try and calm him down. He's prone to retaliation, and they have talked to him a lot here about that in this series, and yet he's back in the penalty box and leads all Jets in penalties now with 35 minutes. Canucks 0 for 1 with the man advantage in this game, and Troy Murray's Jets can't afford to give up a power play goal here. Once again, Murray's not happy with the way the linesmen are setting these faceoffs. Canucks win the draw. Lavsic takes the shot, deflected by Linden and cleared away. That goes over the glass, out of play.
Good quick hands by Teppo Numminen on that tip-in try by Linden. And you see Troy Troy Murray immediately goes over to Jerry Gauthier complaining about that faceoff. As Cliff Ronning won the draw, Linden goes right to the net. There's Ronning winning the draw. Look at Linden. But watch Teppo Newman pick up this rebound. How many guys are quick enough to get it up and over the glass before the Canucks can get to it? Barry Schenkler looking on at his Winnipeg Jets in control of this series. And now in danger of going even at 3-3, headed back to Vancouver.
Just 8 seconds gone in the Ulanov minor. From the faceoff, Ulanov tried to clear it off the glass. Linden was there. Linden caught Newman with a high stick. Fans react, but play continues. Eagles bumped off the puck and Linden turns. When he gets a point, Canucks 32-7-4, and Linden has a point tonight. Ronning shot blocked by Murray. Ronning in the corner. Murray picked up the loose puck and clears the zone.
Teppo Newman went right to the bench after being high stick by Linden. It was accidental. Bill McCreary was right there, didn't make a call.
Babbage fires it in. Tabaracci out of the goal. 1:07 left in the penalty. Under 10 minutes to go now in the second period. A 2-goal lead for Vancouver. Ronning. Low. Cleared out in front off a skate to the corner. Lume against Sykes. Linden helps out. Back to Babbage. There's Ronning loose. Courtnall's in front. Back it comes to Babbage. Wrist shot, scores! Dave Babbage with the shot. It changed direction. Canucks lead 4-1.
Big goal for the Vancouver Canucks on the power play. Babbage takes the shot, and watch the Jets line up. It's Phil Sykes who is halfway out, and Babbage takes the shot. And there's Trevor Linden in front. Now, does it hit Sykes or does it hit Linden? It looks like it's Trevor Linden in front that gets it on his backhand up and over Rick Tabaracci.
Dave Babbage, the former Winnipeg Jet defenseman, spent 5.5 seasons here, and he has been a force in this series.
He's been the most consistent Canuck by far, and that includes their forwards and defensemen.
Wait to see if that went in off Linden or Sykes. But it's a power play goal for Vancouver, their 4th of the series, and they now have a 4-1 lead. So that power play has come to life. 2 goals with the man advantage in game number 5, and now another tonight. They're giving the goal, though, to Linden. Babbage and Ronning get assists. Jets open the scoring, but it's been 4 straight by the Canucks, who are looking for 3 straight wins to take this first-round series. Davidoff can't reach it, beaten to the puck by Fergus. Fergus feeds Nedved. In they come. Canucks looking for more. Out in front, Tabaracci down. Sandlak the backhand. Here's a chance. Shot, score! Tom Fergus.
Look at John Paddock. He's going to make a line change right here. Try and slow the Canucks down as the Jets are back on their heels. Again, the Canucks going to the net very well. Jim Sandlak almost got the goal, and then the defense scrambling. Look at Tom Fergus. He seems to have been the biggest opportunist of either team is Tom Fergus. You don't notice him, and then all of a sudden he's there. Phil Housley behind the net has to come out, and then he doesn't react quickly enough as Tom Fergus slides it through his feet by Rick Tabaracci and in.
Tom Fergus, with his 3rd of the playoffs, he extends his point streak to 6 games. Sandlak and Nedved get the assists. The goals come exactly 1 minute apart. 10:27, the goal by Linden, then 11:27. 5-1, here's a chance for the Jets. Tkachuk stopped in front. Good save there by McLean. Broughton behind the goal. Still just 2 shots on goal. That being the 3rd now by Tkachuk in the second period. Now a lead pass just a stride too far for Bure. Down the ice, touched by Newman. icing the call. But the Canucks look like they're ready to take this one back to Vancouver.
Folks, everyone agrees. They're outrageous.
Yeah, I think so.
Crazy.
Leave my father out of this.
Unpredictable.
I didn't see anything.
Unforgettable. And wonderfully wacky.
I've got a good idea. Stop the car!
From the creators of Weekend at Bernie's.
Didn't I tell you?
Tom Selleck, Don Amici, Folks. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
Tom Fergus's third goal of the series, the only player on either team to have points in every game. And although the Queen's smiling, I'm sure right now she can't be too pleased with Fergie. You're not going to groan?
No.
No?
I'll let that one go by.
Oh, okay.
There are a few groans right now in this building, though. This building in a state of shock. 5-1, Vancouver. And Winnipeg fans, I think they're experiencing deja vu.
Talked about the Vancouver Canucks wearing down the Winnipeg Jets, a smaller team, their forwards and their defensemen. The Canucks using their size early in the series and still using their size, pounding the Jets at every opportunity. And right now, the Jets look like a very tired team.
Jets win the draw. Housley in front. Sykes just failed to redirect it, and it's cleared down the ice. Another icing call.
If you're John Paddock, who do you come back with in Game 7? Do you play Bob Essensa? Or do you go with Rick Tabarachi, as John Paddock, I'm sure, is not too pleased with these back-to-back games, although the Jets in the first period played pretty well and then had scored first, but the Canucks came right back with that big goal by Cliff Ronning. Got the crowd quiet. Burry scored, and since then the Canucks have taken over.
Well, John Paddock took out Rick Tabarachi after 5 in Game 5. 5 goals tonight, and Bob Essensa remains on the bench in this situation. Asked John what he would tell his players before the game tonight. He told them that they have 2 chances to win this. Canucks only 1, and so the pressure was still on Vancouver. Penalty coming up against the Canucks. Here's Ulanov to Murray. Tabarachi out for the extra attacker. Olczyk's onto the ice. Back it comes to Ulanov. Tees it up, shot well wide. Kron coming over, swipes at it. And play whistle down, and the crowd didn't like the way Kron used his stick there. But there is a penalty coming up against the Canucks, and the Jets need a power play goal.
Introducing the new Magnum Series engines from Dodge. Delivering up to 44% more horsepower and a promise. Take one Dodge Dakota, drop in a Magnum V6 or V8, and you'll outpull any Ford Ranger or Chevy S10 around. Chrysler, all you have to do is drive one. Now get 5.9% financing or choose $1,000 cash back.
Takes a holding penalty, and the Jets get a power play opportunity. And there's Ryan Walter's penalty right there. And then Phil Sykes was complaining that Doug Lidster had a hold of his stick. There's Lidster mugging Phil Sykes. And Sykes was looking for the double minor, didn't get it. The Jets only have a 1-man advantage.
Jets 0 for 1 with the man advantage tonight. Fergus and Trevor Linden to kill the penalty, along with Lidster and Babbage. Olofsson at the point. It's Broughton, Olczyk, and Davidov up front. Olofsson and Housley the point man, and out it comes to center for Fergus. Fergus whips the shot, handled easily by Tabarachi. Olofsson leaves it for Housley. He hits the line with Broughton. Puck is dropped in. Olczyk held up by Lidster. Couldn't really do a good job forechecking. Now Davidov after the loose puck. Broughton has it free. Back to Housley. Watched by Linden. Eddie Olczyk takes a look. Down low to Broughton. He can't reach it. Davidov against Lidster. Back to Olofsson. Minute 15 to go. Olofsson shot hit a shin pad and one into the corner. Now it's Housley. Olesen tees it up, and he missed the one-timer. It's been that kind of night for Winnipeg. Broughton. Watched by Babbage and Lidster. Olczyk. Housley. Broughton. Out in front, Davidov hit both goal posts. Light went on, but Davidov rang it off both posts.
And then Davidov pushed Bill McCreary. McCreary was in great position to see this shot by Davidov and waved it off immediately.
I think he took exception to a push from one of the Vancouver players in front, but he was lucky that McCreary doesn't send him off. Let's take a look at a shot that beat McLean but didn't go in.
Good puck movement. Broughton to Davidov. He wades, slides it on Kurt McLean. One post, the other post, and then right out again. The light did go on. Now here's another look. Off the one post, short side, off the other post, right back out again. As you said, Chris, that's the kind of night it's been for the Winnipeg Jets.
And the Canucks complained through 4 games. They weren't getting the breaks, but they certainly did there. And there's the push by Davidov on McCreary.
And no call made. We saw earlier in this series, Sergio Momesso bump into Denny Morrell in a moment of anger. They might go to the video replay on this, but I don't think that there's really any question.
With the Hockey Night in Canada update from Edmonton, here's Ron McLean.
Thank you, Chris. This is Joel Murphy of the Oilers, who has points now in all 6 games of the Oilers-Kings series. He goes coast to coast on this one and upstairs on Kelly Rudy. You see Wayne Gretzky coming back, Jari Kurri out on that, Lamb and Murphy with the 2-on-1, and it's the 3rd of the year for Joe that makes it 2-0 Edmonton.
Jenny Davidov sitting on the bench. He was the Jets' best forward in Game 5. Good offensive player. Nice shot on Kurt McLean. Didn't have much room. Banked it off both posts and it stayed out.
52 seconds to go in the power play. They didn't go to the video goal judge. McCreary, here's a shot from the point blocked by Larionov. Referee McCreary wanted to make sure it was announced that there was no goal since the red light had been turned on.
The video goal judge is former linesman here in Winnipeg, Wayne Forsey.
Housley to Steen. Working against Robert Dirk. Tkachuk, the lone goal scorer for Winnipeg, couldn't handle the pass, and Bure starts back with Larionov. They hit the line. Bure to Larionov. He'll kill some time. Now, nifty feed to Bure, back to Larionov. Lume on the move. Lume went down in front of the goal. Larionov held on to it. Now gives it to Bure, and Canucks don't want to give the Jets the puck back. Pretty good keep away there to kill the remaining seconds of the power play. Now they go to the attack. Walter back on the ice. Lume is in. Puts it in front. They jam away at it. Tabaracci got a piece of that. Lume back in front. And the Canucks beating the Jets to almost every puck.
And executing the good, crisp, short passes. The Jets look disheartened, disgruntled with their power play. The Canucks in complete control at this moment.
4 goals in the second period of Game 5 for Vancouver. 3 so far tonight. Lawler moves in. His centering pass broken up by the veteran Randy Gregg. Now Courtnall starts back with Linden. Works against Newmanen, and his move at the line put Linden offside. With another Hockey Night in Canada update, here again is Ron.
A moment ago, we almost had replay in use. Here, we do have it at the arena in St. Louis. That's Craig Janney. The puck will carry him off a Hawk defender into Nelson Emerson, who quickly taps it at shoulder height, they rule. So the goal stands, 3rd of the year for Emerson. The Hawks' lead is cut to 1 in the second in St. Louis.
That was pretty close. Nelson Emerson's not a very tall player at stick shoulder height. Look at Troy Murray, and he can't be too pleased with the way things are going. Talk about the grind on the players. Troy Murray played a lot earlier in the season. His ice time has been cut down. He must be tired.
He played down the role of emotional leader. Told me the other day that the rest of the players need to look to one guy for emotions, and they're not doing their own jobs in the playoffs. But somehow the Jets need a little spark or injection to get them going here. Deblo at the line. Courtnall kept it in. There's Ronning. Lost the puck to Murray. And Shannon sends it in for Winnipeg. Lavsek hit by Murray, and play whistle down as Darren Shannon is eyeing Randy Craig. 4:15 left in the second period. Penalties upcoming.
Darren Shannon had a good hit in the first period on Randy Gregg. Gregg probably took his number as he and Shannon go off together. They both get roughing penalties. John Paddock looks down his bench. See who's going to give him that little spark that the Jets have been lacking.
First tonight, but the Canucks have answered with 5 in a row. 13 goals in the last 5 periods. Tom Fergus with Nedved and Sandlak clears it in. There's Sandlak and Sykes bumping. That showed his strength on his skates. He bounced off Sandlak but stayed with it. Lidster at the point. Sandlak after it behind the goal. Comes around. Fans a little upset that no Jet got to that puck quicker. Olofsson picked up immediately by Fergus. Gets it to Davidoff. Beats one man. And now skates out to center. Trying to clear it in off the glove of Babbage. There's Sykes. Davidoff's in front, and that was broken up by Lidster. Davidoff slapped his stick on the ice. Now it's Fergus taking the shot, just went wide. Bure kicks it free. Nedved in the corner. Hit by Housley. Broughton is up with it. There's Housley. We'd now like to welcome viewers of the Oilers and the Kings to a quiet arena in Winnipeg. Here's Davidoff inside the line, checked by Nedved. Now Bure starting back. He has a goal as the Canucks lead 5-1 here. Late second period, Lume working in. Here's Lume's shot. Rebound. Oh, what a great save off Lariana. Bure behind the goal. He's checked by Dean Kennedy. Just his second shift of the game. And Kennedy gets it down the ice with 2:40 to go, second period.
Chance for John Paddock to use all his players here as the Jets trail by 4. Dean Kennedy getting some ice time.
Momesso back inside the line, working against Lawler. Kennedy after it there, around the boards. Tkachuk wasn't looking. Lume's there. Flips it back in. Tabaracci out of the goal. Mike Lawler to this near side. There's Kennedy. Up ahead to Olczyk. There's not much zip in the Jet attack right now. Lariana ahead to Courtnall. Courtnall working in against Lawler. Glove save Tabaracci. Here's it to Thomas Steen. Under 2 minutes to go in the period. Steen goes down. And Bure circles at center with Courtnall and Lariana. Checked by Tkachuk. Now Tkachuk starts back. Steen breaks to the net. Good defensive play by Lidster. Lidster and Tkachuk in the corner. And Lidster comes up with the puck.
What the fuck is that?
Lariana out to center. Bure, nice pass to Courtnall. Here's Courtnall and Bure working in. Courtnall shot. Bure skated by the rebound. Now the Jets come back. Olczyk with Murray at center ice. The drop pass. Murray catches up to it. Shot. Went through a screen wide of the goal. Penalty upcoming against Dave Babbage. And the Vancouver Canucks with 1:20 to go here in the second period.
For our viewers from the Edmonton game, the reason Dean Kennedy is dressed is Randy Carlyle was unable to go tonight with a knee injury. Ed Olczyk driving to the net, almost had that one bounce in off him as Dave Babbage knocked him down. Nice touch pass by Olczyk, stayed onside, and look at Olczyk goes by Doug Lidster, Dave Babbage. Lidster has a stick on him, and Babbage gives Olczyk the left hand, knocks him down, takes a penalty, and it's a roughing penalty by Dave Babbage. Now the Jets trailing by 4. Watch of Jenny Davidoff. Like Pavel Bure, he's going to do it all himself, 1-on-4. And the Canucks stand up well, take the man as they converge on Davidoff, much like the Winnipeg Jets did on Pavel Bure. Rick Tabarachi has been under a lot of pressure. Now look at him stay on his feet. He's able to react to that shot by Igor Larionov because he was on his feet. Got the left hand up to make the save.
For those of you joining us late, Tkachuk opened the scoring at 5:03 of the first period, but 32 seconds later, Cliff Ronning scored. Bure also in the first. Ronning, Linden, and Fergus here in the second period. Babbage in the penalty box. Jets are 0 for 2 with the man advantage. Need something here before they head to the dressing room. Housley with room. Shot right on, and Kirk McLean makes his 14th save of the game.
And the Canucks doing a good job in front of McLean, letting him see that point shot. The lane from the point to the goaltender is wide open. Robert Dirk again. Troy Murray trying to get in front. Look at Dirk. Gets position and makes sure that Troy Murray can't get in front of McLean. McLean sees it all the way. And the way he's playing, Kirk McLean's going to stop everything from the blue line. Robert Dirk has been a tower of strength. He's used his size well. He hasn't taken any undisciplined penalties.
Couple of ex-Leafs on that face-off. Broughton beating Fergus on the draw. And Broughton goes after it. There's Troy Murray behind the net. Watched by Dirk. Elnick to Broughton again behind the goal, but the Canucks are quite content on having the puck there. Fergus reaches for it. Olofsson pinches in, keeps it in the zone. Here's Olofsson to Housley. 35 seconds to go in the period. Olofsson again. Crowd yelling to shoot. Here's a chance in front. They score! Pat Elnick on the redirection.
Good puck movement by the Jets, and look at Elnick. Doesn't stop it, just redirects it past Kirk McLean, and look at McLean. He has no time at all to react. A right-hand shot, good hard pass by Housley so that Elnick can redirect it. There's Aaron Broughton creating some confusion. That opens up Elnick at the side, and no chance for Kirk McLean.
With his second goal of this series. He got the big goal in game number 3 in the final minute of the first period. He scores in the final minute of the second period here. And whether that will be enough to get the Jets back in this hockey game remains to be seen. But they needed something to take to the dressing room.
And it'll get the fans back involved. And look at John Paddock. He's looking for anything to give his team a lift, a little relief, more than too much excitement on the face of John Paddock.
Told him to move it up, and they have to be thinking a little more offensively now. 19:30 at the time of the goal. Elnick from Housley and Olofsson. Olofsson with his second assist of the game.
Jets will have to open this up, and one of the things you take into regard is the offensive strength of the Vancouver Canucks, and it's hard to open it up wide open when they have players like Bure, Courtnall, Linden, all the good goal scorers.
Jets had a meeting last night. I wonder if they saw any of the action where many of the teams staged rallies last night, so perhaps a comeback is possible. New Jersey was down 5-0 and put the heat on the Rangers. 5-2 here, 18.2 seconds to go. Murray against Sandlack on this draw. Murray won it cleanly to Housley. Right on Housley, though, was Sandlack. Tkachuk. They get a loose puck. They double-team Sandlack. Comes to the point. Chopped at by Housley. Hit Momesso, and out it comes. Nedved in the dying seconds of the period. Can't get a shot away. And that will do it. And what a period it was for the Vancouver Canucks. Trying to extend this series to 7. Coming up in our second intermission, we'll hear from Jet defenseman Mike Lawler in conversation with Ron McLean. The score at the end of the second period at the arena in Winnipeg. Vancouver 5, Winnipeg 2.
Not the best of times in downtown Winnipeg. The Jets struggling at home this evening. The Vancouver Canucks with a big second period and now lead Game 6 of the Smythe semifinal by a count of 5-2. Joining me from the Winnipeg Jets, Mike Lawler. And Mike, I wish it was a better time for you and your team, but it's been a great series. Let's start, though, with the game. What do you think's happening?
I don't know. I thought we came out strong and played really well, you know, through the first period. But just, I don't know, we got behind, and you got to give a lot of credit to Vancouver. They're playing well, and they're doing the little things of paying the price that are paying off for them. Just as you have in this series to get to this point, let me go back, though, to March, 2nd. You're traded from Washington, a team that's given a chance to win the Stanley Cup. You have to leave your family and the Capitals behind. What were you feeling? Well, it was a little bit tough, but, you know, the second game after the trade was right back in Washington, so it gave me 4 or 5 days to spend with my family and adjust before the trade, because usually you're just gone and that's it, and see you later, honey, when I get the chance. But you know, we were back, and you know, things have been going pretty good. I've had an opportunity to do a lot more with this club than I had in Washington, and I'm enjoying it. It's true. You scored in the first 2 games as a Jet, so it didn't take long to fit in. Now it's you and Teppo Numminen against all the best lines on the other teams. When did that start? Not long after I got here, and and I enjoy it. It's a great challenge, and for the most part, we've been doing a pretty good job against Bure and and Larionov and whoever they're playing with. We struggled in Game 5 back in Vancouver, but tonight you know, they're a tough line, and you know, we just got to keep them from scoring. That's our job, and that's what we got to do. I wish we had more time to talk about you and Lucien Deblois in the '86 Stanley Cup. We just don't, but good luck in the third period. Well, I just got to say hi to my wife back in Washington. I haven't seen her for a while, so hello. Perfect. Glad she's watching One Dish on the Dish. Yeah. Thanks to Mike Lawler of the Winnipeg Jets, his club trailing by 3 goals. One thing to remember, Mike's been in the NHL since '86. His teams have never gone fewer than 2 rounds in postseason competition. Well, up next, the greatest goals in playoff history. We'll show you number 30. Here at the arena in Winnipeg at the end of 2 periods of play. It's the Canucks 5, the Jets 2 live. This is Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Shots on goal in the second period at the arena, 17-7 the Canucks. They lead at the end of 2 periods of play by a score of 5-2.
Centered it from the corner. Canadians still have it. They roll it back. Here's Del Vecchio getting a breakaway. He's going in on goal. He shoots. He scores!
The second year in a row, Detroit beat the Montreal Canadiens. The Canadiens were without Maurice Richard that spring. Alex Del Vecchio made it 3-zip at that stage. They went on to win the game 3-1 in the Stanley Cup of 1955 on Alex Del Vecchio's, the 30th greatest goal in playoff history. Meantime, the Wings could use him tonight, and so could the Stars. No one can score a goal at the Met Center in Bloomington. Just a moment ago, a nice setup for Brian Bellows. His shot eludes Tim Cheveldae, but goes off the crossbar, and it remains scoreless in that affair. The shots, as of about a minute ago, 26-19 Detroit, but nobody can beat Casey or Cheveldae in this affair, and what a key game it is for the Red Wings on the road tonight. Edmonton had 2 goals in the first period. They're trying to put Los Angeles away, and they have a lead as the play gets underway in the second period at Northlands Coliseum. And the Chicago Blackhawks lead the St. Louis Blues at the arena in St. Louis in the intermission by a score of 2-1. Here it's been the Vancouver Canucks enjoying life so far through 2 as they lead by a count of 5-2. More on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC in a moment.
Tickets! Win free tickets to the Stanley Cup. Molson Canadians, best seats in the house.
What are you talking about?
The Molson Canadian Hockey Connection. What? Check it out. You could win 4 tickets to the first 4 games of the Stanley Cup Finals. Canadian Tire gift certificates or hockey home viewer kits.
Yeah, right. I got a better chance of bumping into Don Cherry.
Watch the playoffs only on CBC and you've got a chance to win. Details in the viewer's guide.
Watch Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
No, couldn't be.
We're back live at the arena in Winnipeg. It's the Jets and the Canucks in the second intermission here. 5-2 Vancouver. And there you see live shot from the Northlands Coliseum. Martin Gélina takes the feed from David Maley and quickly beats Kelly Rudy. This is early stages of the second period in Edmonton. And as a result of Gélina's first of the Stanley Cup playoffs at 2:41 of the second period, the Edmonton Oilers have a commanding lead. We'll try to take you for action in Edmonton in just a couple of moments to the Coliseum. So second period action there and third period action here when our telecast continues after these messages.
In a game, the hits by forwards, 18 hits for the Vancouver Canucks. They've taken the play to the Winnipeg Jets after about the first 10 minutes of the first period. The defensemen for the Winnipeg Jets have to join the rush. They were very effective early in the game, but since it's a forced rush, and the Canucks are getting some chances.
It was 2-1 for Vancouver after 20 minutes of play. Cliff Ronning with his second goal of the game in this series. Made it 3-1 early, then Linden on the power play. Fergus made it 5-1. What kind of impact will the Pat Elnick goal have on this third period? The fans trying to get the Jets charged up for this third period.
Most coaches like to tell their team, let's play these periods in 5-minute segments. Now, it's a big 5-minute segment for the Vancouver Canucks. They have to shut down the Jets, get the fans quiet again. And for the Jets, conversely, they have to try and get one in the first 5 minutes, get the fans back in it, give themselves some jump, get themselves back in the game.
8 teams in history have come back from 3-1 deficits, 6 in the last 5 years. And the Canucks trying to put themselves in position to add to that total. And the Jets were the victims 2 years ago, desperately want to avoid that trip back to Vancouver, but they need an enormous third period.
Pretty warm outside. We're having some problems with the ice inside here in the Winnipeg Arena. Last week it was snowing and cold outside. It's up to plus 19 today. Elvis and the Hunkster have shown up here at the Winnipeg Arena to watch the Jets.
As Steen and Ronning off the face-off right from the draw, the Jets moved in offside as they try to get a quick jump in this third.
Courtnall and Davidoff had some words. Referee Bill McCreary trying to keep things under wraps here early in the third period. Courtnall was sat out by Pat Quinn just because of his play. He wasn't hurt on that spear by Igor Ulanov. Pat Quinn just sat him out the next game, and Courtnall has played a lot better since that demotion.
Steen kicked it over to Tkachuk, back to Numanen. He flips it in. Lidster has it go off his glove. Davidoff right on. Steen, Tkachuk scores!
This is almost a replay of Tkachuk's first goal. And look at Courtnall right there. It's Doug Lidster misplayed that puck, and then Keith Tkachuk, Thomas Steen go to the net. Watch Doug Lidster reach up and try and get it, and then it goes to Kirk McLean. Steen misplays it, but there's Keith Tkachuk again up and over Kirk McLean. And Tkachuk enjoys this, driving to the net. He's rewarded again.
17 seconds in, and that has this crowd back on its feet for the first time since the first period when Tkachuk scored. So with 29 seconds to go in the second period, Elnick gave them a spark, and now 17 seconds into the third period, the Jets are back in the hockey game. Tkachuk, his third of the series, second of the game. Steen and Davidoff and John Paddock couldn't have ordered a better start for this third period.
And shuffling his lines around, trailing and not a whole lot of life. Spelling is better here in the Winnipeg Arena in the third period. The play looks a little better. John Paddock with Tkachuk, Davidoff, and Steen on the line. And Tkachuk gets the goal. The glass here in the Winnipeg Arena is only 6 feet high. At the Vancouver Coliseum, it's 8. In most rinks, it's at least 8. And that's why we have so many pucks up and over the glass here at the arena.
No doubt Pat Quinn stressed defensive assignments after 40 minutes. And now his team is going to have to show its composure after that great start by the Jets in the third.
In the first period, they were able to come right back and score on the Ronning goal. Here to get the crowd quiet again. They're going to try and put some pressure on the Jets.
There's Olesen with it. Rink wide it goes to the captain, Troy Murray. He sends it back into the Canucks zone. Olczyk's tied up by Fergus. Crowd reacting to that, but it's Lume carrying it out to center. Sandlak working against Olesen. Here's Peter Nedved bursting in, and he was knocked off stride. Sandlak trying to shovel it in front. Nedved there through the goal crease. Sandlak on the other side as the Canucks come back. Wrapped around the boards, kept in by Lume. Behind the goal it goes. And Olesen takes a look. Missed a hit, flipped it to center for Olczyk. Rink wide, it goes to Murray. Working against Lume. Murray bursted in, and Lume just blocked the shot in time. Now it's cleared to the line, past Lawler. And out to center ice. Canucks make a wholesale change, a minute and a half into the period. Newman moving back in, shot right on. Handled easily by McLean. Jets have really picked up the pace now. Lawler off the boards. Elnick touched it on his own side of center. Lariana kicking it. Listen to this crowd. Mike Lawler picks it up. Has some trouble with it. Shannon, Elnick, Broughton up front. Lawler clears it in. McLean out of the goal, lost it to Elnick. Plavsic ties him up. They double team Plavsic. Canucks get it out to the line. Bure can't get it out of the zone, however. Now Randy Gregg will try. And it goes to Lariana. With Bure, Mamesso's on the move. Mamesso tied up by a nice back checking from Darren Shannon. Lariana hands it off to Bure. Flipped high in the air. Ulanov skated by it. Mamesso has it. Now Ulanov hands it away. Here's Bure. Scores! Ulanov handed it right to Bure, and he made no mistake.
All sorts of time for Pavel Bure in front of Rick Tabaracci. Look at Ulanov on his backhand. Gets the puck and then just slides it. And there's Pavel Bure. Thank you very much. He waits for Tabaracci to collapse. You see Tabaracci start to go down, and then Bure up and over his shoulder. There's Ulanov, the pass right up the middle. That's a Cardinal sin, even if it's a good pass. And there's the shot by Pavel Bure. Not a whole lot of chances. Bure had so much time in front of Rick Tabaracci.
Bure with plenty of reason to smile now. A pair of goals in this game, his fourth of the series unassisted. But detractors of Ulanov might argue that. What a terrible defensive mistake to make when the Jets seem to be catching fire. Tkachuk will try to get them going again. Housley along the boards, and Ronning's there. And number 7 has certainly played a big role for Vancouver in their quest for Game 7. Dean Kennedy, Rick wide, too far for Steen, slides down. Lidster back to get it. Off the boards, ahead to Courtnall. He just chops it to center ice. Housley to Davidoff. Sends it back in. Tkachuk heading to the bench on a change. 16 minutes, 16 seconds to go, third period, and once again it's a 3-goal Canuck lead. Sean Cronin handed it right to Dirk, who gives it back to Cronin. Olczyk, rink wide, Deblois has it bounce over his stick. Troy Murray flips it in. McLean out of the goal, hands it off to Dirk. Courtnall in front of the goal to Lidster. Out to center ice.
How much wind will this take out of the sails of the Winnipeg Jets? That goal by Bury on a bad pass by Ulanov, and it really has the crowd. It's taken the crowd right out of this again.
Costly mistake. Sandlak to the line. Checked by Olczyk. Cronin and Sandlak. Olczyk along the boards. Just flips it out to center. There's Deblois. Deblois checked from behind by Nedved. Nedved hammered by Cronin, yet it was Cronin who went down. And we've got a penalty coming up, and it will be Sean Cronin. Tonight's game coming to you from the Winnipeg Arena.
4:41, and when you're Sean Cronin, you take these penalties more often just because of your name. Look at Cronin gets the elbow up. Nedved saw him at the last moment. Cronin gets a roughing penalty. It's called in overtime. Will Yves Racine be the hero again for the Red Wings? Not a very likely hero, but he was already in this series. Nothing into overtime at the Med Center.
Don't see many of those, do you?
No.
Lume. Shot right on. 1 for 2, the Canuck power play tonight. Lapsic leaving it, and Lariana skates smoothly out to center ice. Omesso on the right side. Lume circling behind the play, now looks for a loose puck, but Numanen's up with it. Numanen ahead to Eagles. Mike Eagles at center. Sykes on the move. They're looking for a short-handed goal. Sykes shot blocked by Lume, and it deflects over the glass out of play.
And it looks like the Canucks might get a penalty here as Eagles drove to the net. And that'll even things up. Sykes short-handed. Now watch Eagles drive to the net. There's no penalty call from Bill McCreary as the net came off, but look at Plazic. He makes sure Eagles doesn't get too close. Eagles goes crashing into Kirk McLean, and that's what McLean was complaining about. And McCreary pointed at Plazic saying, well, no, Eagles was pushed in. And now Doug Lidster has a conversation with Bill McCreary. The Eagles on the bench, one of the unsung heroes of this Jet team. John Paddock says a lot of nights he's an MVP.
Apparently we had a little discussion in the crowd as well. Can't be any Vancouver fans here, are there?
With the score 6-3, I'm sure the Vancouver fans that are here are a little more boisterous than they have been in games 3 and 4.
Can you imagine what the Pacific Coliseum will be like for Game 7? The Canucks can take this one home. Courtnall right on. Tabaracci hands it off to Olofsson. Olofsson lost control, but Kennedy followed up and clears it down the ice with now under a minute to go in the Cronin minor penalty. Lidster across to Babbage. Linden, Courtnall, and Ronning are up front. Babbage over the red line. Fires it in. Tabaracci cleared it up to Shannon. Shannon tied up by Ronning, but Murray gets it out to center, and Murray's on the move, but Lidster just knocked it off his stick in time. Courtnall back now with Ronning and Linden. Here's the pass. Ronning right on as he was looking for his hat trick, and Tabaracci made the stop.
The Jets have made a number of bad line changes tonight, especially the first period. There they get caught on a line change, and it ends up as a 2-on-1. And Cliff Ronning going to the net. Here's the line change. Mike Lawler comes off the bench. You see Lawler trying to come into the picture right here, and he makes Ronning stay on his backhand, and Rick Tabaracci makes the save. Tabaracci realizes Ronning is being cut off by Lawler. He gets over to the backhand, makes the save, and then covers up.
29 seconds to go in the Canuck power play, and we have not seen Ulanov since the Bure goal. He's now seated on the bench beside Bob Essenza.
Not a good place to be. One of the things when I was a backup goaltender, I got to know some of the players quite well. They'd make a bad play, come down, sit for a period or two.
There he is. That expression says it all. came out firing for the Jets at the 17-second mark. Looked like Winnipeg was back in it. But then the Ulanov mistake in the Bure goal, and it's a 3-goal advantage once again. Canucks looking for more. Nedved's pass deflected into the crowd on the far side.
And the thing about the Cronin penalty is that it hurts the Jets' chances of getting a forecheck going and trying to get some momentum back and getting the fans into this game. Look at Jim Sandlak has played a good physical game again. Sean Cronin getting ready to go back out with 18 seconds left in his penalty.
Getting set for this face-off. Nedved against Eagles. Puck dropped in. It comes to the point to Randy Gregg. Laughs it. Gregg to Fergus. Watched by Newmanen. Fergus kept it in, and now it comes outside the line. Eagles kicks it free, gets it ahead to Broughton. Working against Gregg, and Broughton's shot off the stick of Gregg wide. Cronin's back on the ice. The Jets at full strength. Down by 3. Sandlak dumped along the right wing by Newmanen. And it's Lawler. Feeds ahead to Steen. Davidoff breaking on the right wing as Steen hits the line. Steen couldn't get the shot away as Sandlak impeded his progress. And now Sandlak up the boards for Nedved. Peter Nedved has been a good addition to this Canuck team midway through the series. He drops it off to Fergus. Flipped into the corner. Nedved's there. Ulanov is back on the ice. That's where he made his mistake moments ago, and Bure is hounding him again. Clears it around the boards. Tkachuk. 2 goals for the Jets. Up to Housley on the move. Housley hits the line with Steen. Shot. Good save there with the pad by McLean. Housley tries to center it, and Larionov feeds it ahead to Momesso. Here's a 2-on-1. Bure breaking off the skate of Ulanov, and the Jets break it up. Momesso at center ice. Steen now to Housley. Housley trying to work around Lume. Robert Dirk. Housley moving up again, and this could mean the Jets will give up a lot of 2-on-1s like this one. Larionov, Momesso, Tabaracci sprawls, and it's underneath him. And we may see a lot of that because the Jets are really moving up, led by Housley from the defense.
I used pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Now, Canadians can get all the waterproofing of Thompson's Water Seal in Thompson's exterior stain. 7 naturally beautiful colors give you long-lasting beauty and superior waterproofing in one easy step.
The Canucks are going to benefit from the Jets pressing. Here's a 2-on-1, and look at Tabaracci. Reads the play, slides over. Keith Tkachuk did a good job coming back on Momesso. Ulanov gets caught. Phil Housley gets caught. And it's Keith Tkachuk who comes back to save the play. Phil Housley led the rush and then just stayed in. And that created the 2-on-1.
Cliff Roning's broken another stick from the face-off as the Jets send it in. Looking for some offense now from Broughton, Elnick, and Olczyk. Lawler took a run at Courtnall. It's kept in at the point. There's a shot. McLean the save, and he had to stop Elnick, who was knocked into him as well.
Elnick tried to get in front of McLean, but Dave Babbage, who has been solid all series, made sure that Elnick stayed at the side. Jets now have to score in a hurry. 11 minutes left. Here's the shot. Olczyk just snaps it towards the net. He's hoping Elnick can get there in time, but look at Babbage. Ties him up. And Kurt McLean again clears sight lines, makes the save, and hangs on.
Dave Babbage, part owner of a golf course in the Winnipeg area. Golf, the last thing on his mind right now. 11:42 to go. And Cliff Ronning brimming with confidence. They Face-off goes to the Jets, though. Here's Newman looking to center it out in front. It hit Ronning. Against the boards, they tie it up. Broughton kicks it free. Elnick works it out. Puts it in front of the goal. Canucks all lined up there. Here's Housley shooting. McLean somehow got a piece of that through traffic. Newman. Jets applying the pressure. Broughton behind the goal. Housley moving into the play. There he is. Elnick behind the net. Lidster watching him. Linden and Broughton running off the boards and down the ice. Housley was knocked down behind the play. The crowd reacted, and Housley let out a yell across the ice at referee Bill McCurry to no avail. Randy Gregg in his own zone. Sandlak has some trouble with it. Now gets it out on the second try, and Housley will regroup in his own zone.
But Pat Quinn has needed a shift to settle things down. He's used Randy Gregg and used him well.
Here's Sandlak with the steal, and the wrist shot right on. Tabaracci works it free, but the whistle had gone, and the crowd showing its frustration here.
Children grow up so fast. Jesse may look safe, but his head is more than halfway above the top of his seat. He could be hurt in an accident. At Esso, looking out for your safety is part of our service. So remember, Jesse would be safer in a booster seat with a regular seatbelt. Drive safely. Pick up our brochure of road safety information. It's free at your local Esso.
To me, good service also means getting you safely on your way. You're on your way with Esso.
Wayne Gretzky and the Los Angeles Kings in deep trouble at the Northlands Coliseum tonight. They're just moments away from overtime in Minnesota, and the Blackhawks continue to lead the Blues in the third period. And it appears that Game 7 will indeed be necessary Thursday from the Pacific Coliseum. Tomorrow, Bob Cole, Harry Neal, Dick Irvin, Scott Russell, and the Hockey Night in Canada crew in Hartford for Game 6, Whalers and Canadians. Nedved on the face-off against Murray, and the Jets have the puck. 10:20 to go. Third period, 6-3 for Vancouver. Shannon at center. Cleared it in, wasn't over the center ice line, and Plavsic touches it. There's an icing call against Winnipeg.
Canucks doing a good job standing up in the neutral zone and forcing that long shoot-in by Darren Shannon. Adrian Plavsic without the face shield. They abandoned it in the last game. Now watch the Canucks clog up the neutral zone. Right here, they just, Sandlak pushes Troy Murray, just squeezes them out. Puck has already gone in for the icing call. Sandlak giving his defenseman lots of time to get back and get that icing call.
Character builder this has been for Pat Quinn's crew.
And you can bet after the game it'll be nothing but the Canucks saying, well, the Jets are a game team, they're a combative team, they'll give us their best in Game 7. The Canucks all year, not too high, not too low. You can bet now they have respect for this Winnipeg Jet team and won't take them too lightly in Game 7.
Darren Shannon to take this face-off. He wins the draw into the corner. Ulanov up to Murray. Off the boards to center. Winnipeg Jets were second last in the league this year in even strength goals, and they need offense right now. Down by 3 with under 10 minutes to go. Olsen to Ulanov, and he's met by Sandlak. Jarring check, Nedved back in. Passes it across, Sandlak, Fergus scores! What a play! Jim Sandlak started it with a hit and set up Fergus for the goal.
And Peter Nedved showing his offensive talents as this line looked like the KLM line of the former Soviet Union team. Now, watch here. Again, Igor Ulanov with that hit turns the puck over. And look at this pass. Nedved to Sandlak, back to Fergus, no chance for Tabarachi, and Fergus picked the corner just inside the post. Nice little three-way passing play. All three guys in the line touch the puck. Backhand pass, Sandlak to Fergus, no chance for Tabarachi.
Tom wanted us to say hi to his mom, Mary, in St. George, Ontario. And Tom, you said hi better than we could with a pair of goals. Third and fourth of this series for Tom Fergus. Nedved and Sandlak the assists. And it's 7-3 for the Vancouver Canucks. Tkachuk out of the corner for Winnipeg. Puts it out in front, a deflection wide of the net off the stick of Newman. Here's Davidov, shot weak, handled by McLean, who hangs on with 9:10 to go. Pavel Bure with a couple of goals. Keith Tkachuk with 2 goals for the Winnipeg Jets. And Tom Fergus has 2 for the Canucks as well.
He hasn't played a whole lot in this series. He's played well and played consistently, but every time he's on the ice, the Canucks seem to do something, and he seems to be around the puck. Rejuvenated, coming over from Toronto. Confidence boost by Pat Quinn. Tom Fergus had a 10-game point streak as soon as he came over from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and here in the playoffs, he's carried it over.
Got a 6-game streak going here. The Canucks getting offense from another line now. Nedved, Sandlak, and Fergus give them 3 weapons, and here's Bure looking for the hat trick. It scores! 3 for Bure, and is there any doubt we're headed to Vancouver for Game 7?
The Jets talked about 8-2, 3-2, 2-1. It doesn't matter. A game is only a game, and again, they're getting shellacked here, but they talked about the embarrassment of Game 5. Now watch Bure call for the puck. He's in behind the defense. He gets it, and nobody can catch Pavel Bure from behind. He's on a roll, and look at the nice little touch between Rick Tabarachi's legs. Gets the goaltender to open up. Now watch, fakes, opens up the goaltender, and then just slides it through.
So much for my pregame comment that neither team was going to score 8 tonight. Canucks have proven me wrong. Pavel Bure with his 3rd, and Vancouver has 8. An 8-3 lead. In what now potentially is the final home game of the year for the Jets, who must come up with a huge win in Game 7 in Vancouver. Newman looking for Troy Murray. Murray, his shot goes high and out of play. Pavel Bure with 3, Tom Fergus with a pair. That's the difference in this game.
Molson Special Dry. Is this your average beer?
Looks like it could rain all weekend.
Come on, man, cheer up. While you're up, why don't you get us some beer?
Is this your average rainy weekend at the cottage?
Across the lake. Want to put them in a jar so
Molson Special Dry. It just could be the best beer ever brewed, anytime, anywhere.
Looks like it could rain all weekend.
The faces of the fans here tell the whole story, John.
And a lot of empty seats, and this is one of the arenas where the people stay right till the end normally, but trailing 8-3 with 8:24 left. And look at the Vancouver bench. They're all excited. Bure and Lariana talking it over. That long lead pass up to Bure in behind the defense. Another breakaway goal for Pavel Bure.
Bure's goal came 39 seconds after the marker by Tom Fergus. Bure from Larionov is the scoring play at 11:02. Olsen flips it in, and Ryan Walter has it. The veteran Canuck flips to center for Kron. Linden is the trailer. Kron trying to get around Olsen. That's Walter to Linden. Linden has room, hit the goal post, right off the post. That's Kron working in. Kron lost control as Tabarachi tried to knock it away, and here comes Olchek. Gets around Plavsic, catches up, and Randy Gregg with the sprawling play. Tonight, Rick Tabarachi remains in the goal. No reprieve for the Jet goaltender who's been so outstanding in this series. Davidov watched along the boards. Steen works it free to Tkachuk. Nedved watching him. Flipped out in front. They chop away at it, and Plavsic is after it. Now 7:07 to go in the third period as we get set for Game 7. Owsley back to get it, and an icing call against the Canucks. 35-24. Shots have the Jet fans shaking their heads.
Look at John Paddock, and the reason that Rick Tabarachi is still in the net is because John Paddock has already made up his mind who's going to start Game 7, and that'll be Bob Essensa, so why throw him to the Wolves now here late in this game? Detroit and Minnesota still scoreless in overtime.
On the face-off, it's Lawler working in off of McLean's stick, cleared by Dirk to the line, kept in by Murray, blocked by Lumet, and Larionov's out at center. Bure was breaking, but Lawler got back. You said that without any hesitation. Bob Essensa, Game 7, no question.
For sure.
Stay tuned. Momesso flips it in the air. There's Bure, lets it go. Lawler back out to center. And the Canucks clear it in and make a change. Teppo Numminen skates out to center ice. Troy Murray flips it in front. Devlois couldn't catch up with it. He's there in the corner. Puts it back behind the goal, and Lidster has it there. Well, for a few seconds early in the third period, it looked like the Jets would get back in it on that goal by Tkachuk that made it 5-3. Ulanov made a mistake. Bure got his second. Fergus and Bure again, and Bob Essensa. Will he be the man in Game 7? John Garrett's on record.
I think so, and it's not that Rick Tabarachi has played poorly. His team has played poorly in front of him, but why give the Canucks? They think they have Tabarachi's number now, back-to-back 8-goal games. Why not come back with Bob Essensa? He was your #1 guy, player of the month, 1 month this year in the NHL. Carried the Jets early in the season. Why not come back with Essensa in Game 7? Start from scratch from the goal out.
5:50 to go here. Shannon hooked up by Ronning. What a spark Ronning provided the Canucks here with a pair of goals, his first 2 of the series. Behind the goal for Shannon. Takes a look. Elnick free. Penalty coming up. Elnick shot blocked. Shannon can't get a shot away. And now the penalty is being called by Bill McCreary. So the Jets, down by 5, will get a man advantage here.
Announcing Fido-Rama, your chance to win one of 3 limited edition escorts. Just look under the cap of specially marked 7-Up and Diet 7-Up to collect the names of 7 Canadian cities, and you could win a Fido escort.
7-Up. It's good to me. 7-Up.
Doug Lidster's had a strong defensive game. He gets a holding penalty at 14:33. Now Aaron Broad's in the crease. He's being tied up by Lidster on the right of your screen. And Lidster gets a penalty. The Winnipeg Jets get a power play opportunity. Ryan Walter gets to try and kill another penalty for the Vancouver Canucks.
Masterton Trophy nominee for Vancouver. bet his playoff experience and that of Randy Gregg has been an important factor after the 3-1 deficit.
Talked to Ryan after the 3-1. He said, oh, this is so exciting. He was thrilled to just be involved. He still felt confident, felt that his team had a chance. And he said all the good teams need character builders on their way to the Cup. And he felt this would be for the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself here because Winnipeg could certainly go into Vancouver and win another game 7. But if the Canucks ever escape that 3-1, they'll certainly carry a lot of momentum into round number 2. Melnick. Broughton can't handle it. Gregg up to Cron, and the Canucks will skate out. Ryan Walter. He set up a shorthanded Cron goal earlier in this series. They're called for offside at the line.
With the Jets trailing, they have to take some chances, and even on the shorthanded situation, the 2-on-2 rush, the Jets hung way high looking for that offensive chance. They were going to give up the shorthanded chance, Walter and Cron, just so they could work on their transition game.
These 30-something players have made an impact. Ryan Walter, 34, Randy Gregg, 36. We'd like to welcome back viewers of Edmonton and Los Angeles to the Winnipeg Arena, where Pavel Bure has his first Stanley Cup playoff hat trick. Tom Fergus has a pair of goals. And the Vancouver Canucks have a 5-goal lead as they get set to take this series to a 7th game at the Pacific Coliseum Thursday. Olesen winding up. His shot deflected wide of the goal, wrapped around, back to Olesen again. 4:44 left in the game, a minute 15 to go in a Jet power play. There's not much oomph left in the Jets now. Not at least tonight.
You see Ryan Walter even ahead 8-3 diving at Phil Housley to get that puck out and over the blue line. The complete competitor, Ryan Walter.
I mentioned the two 30-year-olds on the Canucks, but I also wanted to add 36-year-old Randy Carlyle not in the lineup for Winnipeg tonight, and you wonder what effect that had on the Jets. Carlyle has been a force in this series. Lume dumps it in, and Housley will turn with 36 seconds to go. And the man advantage ahead to Steen. David Dobb is cruising at the line. He takes the pass. Olczyk moving in as well. Housley at the point. Fakes the shot. Olesen one-times it. A save by McLean. Cleared by Fergus.
And again, that lane on the shot from Frederick Olesen wide open, so Kirk McLean could see the shot all the way.
There's Thomas Steen. Couldn't get a shot away. Lume tied up. Larionov to the line and out. I mentioned Fergus with 2, Bure with 3. Cliff Ronning also has a pair of goals. Trevor Linden the other. Robert Dirk dumped on the play by Davidoff. Puck loose behind the goal. Davidoff kicks it to the corner. And they get a whistle deep in the Vancouver zone.
Was tripped up by Evgeny Davidov, and he thought a penalty was going to be called. So that's why he stopped, and he was talking it over with Bill McCreary. Look at the two coaches and look at the expressions. Pat Quinn not showing his delight. I'm sure he is delighted. And John Paddock, the look of disgust. His team never gave up 8 goals against all year long, and now they have back-to-back 8-goal games in the playoffs against the Vancouver Canucks. And some of the players were talking about it. I know Phil Sykes was saying it's an embarrassment in a playoff game to get beaten 8-2, and now here at home, they're losing 8-3.
From the draw, it comes back to Newman, and his shot blocked by Bure. Eagles in the corner. By Larionov, and now Babbage has it. Up ahead it goes to Momesso. Sergio Momesso takes the shot wide. What an addition Momesso's been to this line with Larionov and Bure. Certainly given those two a little more room to operate. Sykes at center ice. Bure knocked down behind the play. That's what got the reaction of the fans. Kachuk Eagles goes to the net, couldn't take the pass. Now he goes after it again. We've got another penalty coming up, and tempers flaring. Momesso going after Eagles after Eagles had jarred Larionov. And I guess this was predictable with the game out of reach.
And now Phil Sykes is going after Doug Lidster. And there's Larionov and Keith Tkachuk. Now some debris being thrown on the ice, and there's Lidster. He's all over Phil Sykes. And Momesso is throwing gloves at Mike Eagles as Jerry Pateman is trying to break them up.
Now Newman has moved in on Lidster, and this could involve a third man. They get Newman off. Momesso goes down with Jerry Pateman. A lot of debris on the ice, and both Eagles and Momesso fell down.
And now Larionov is trying to get Newman off of Lidster, and Jerry Gauthier gets over. Keith Tkachuk is there.
Well, Lidster certainly had the upper hand in that battle against Sykes, and first Newman and then Tkachuk tried to intervene. And finally, Lidster's headed to the box, and in fact the dressing room.
Here's how it all starts. Now Mike Eagles and Igor Larionov. Here's the high stick by Momesso on Eagles. And there's the punch by Larionov on Eagles, and Eagles throws him down. Another high stick, and in comes Momesso. If you call a third man in, who do you call as the third man in? Is Momesso the third man in, or is Tkachuk?
Bill McCurry has some work to do, so we'll take a break.
Tickets! Win free tickets to the Stanley Cup. Molson Canadians, best seats in the house.
What are you talking about?
The Molson Canadian Hockey Connection. What? Check it out. You could win 4 tickets to the first 4 games of the Stanley Cup Finals. Canadian Tire gift certificates or hockey home viewer kits.
Yeah, right. I got a better chance of bumping into Don Cherry.
Watch the playoffs only on CBC, and you've got a chance to win. Details in the viewer's guide.
Watch Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
No, couldn't be.
Pavel over by the penalty box. The offensive start tonight with 3 goals. Remember to stay tuned for the Molson 3 Stars. Bury had 3 goals tonight. Igor Ulanov set him up, standing right in front. He got a bounce off Mike Lawler's skate, was standing right in front. And then a breakaway, he was in behind the defense and fed a long pass from Igor Larionov. Jets baby bottle on the ice along with an assortment of other debris. No squid tonight. We had a squid in Vancouver, but the prairie squid has not appeared here at the Winnipeg Arena.
Tough to find squid on the prairies. 7 points in the last 2 games for Bure. 2:34 left in this one. But you get the impression it might be a long 2 minutes and 34 seconds as they...
Earlier on the shift, here's Eagles on Bure, as Keith Tkachuk was the first person to hit him, and then Eagles came along and hit him from behind, and you see that Igor Larionov and Sergio Momesso both took note of that and tried to get at Mike Eagles. You look at the Jet bench, and here we go, writing the penalties down again.
Got a good thick pad of paper this time.
The Jets have to look at this as okay, and John Paddock did going into this game say, well, the pressure is more on the Vancouver Canucks because if we win, it's over, and we still have one more chance.
Bill McCurry explaining the penalties to the captains. Kurt McLean perhaps overshadowed. There is a list of the penalties.
Sergio Momesso, it looks like, is going to get the extra 2 minutes from that little pad. I know my eyes are a little better than yours, Chris.
You're right about that.
I'm going to say that it's Sergio Momesso will get the extra 2 minutes, as it looked like he had 4 for roughing and everybody else was just getting 2.
Well, we have found Canuck fan is waving the flag on this near side, and the Winnipeg fans remaining here are not too happy about that. A a long night it's been for Rick Tabaracci.
And it started early as the Jets scored the first goal, but then the first good scoring chance that the Jets gave up was that Cliff Ronning breakaway. And you can't blame a goaltender for a breakaway against a pure goal scorer like Cliff Ronning, and Ronning made the most of it. And then the Bure goal was a slap shot from 20 feet out right in the middle.
A lot of people have gone home. There's that flag I was talking about. The only guys in the building not wearing white.
Of all the international players in this game, I don't think there is any German players, as the Canuck fan was waving a German flag. The World Championship started today. Dave King waiting for some players to be eliminated to add to the Team Canada roster. It is Sergio Momesso who is getting the extra penalty, and the Winnipeg Jets will have a man advantage.
Kirk McLean overshadowed in the first 4 games by Rick Tabaracci, but he's been so consistent even from game 1, and what a valuable man he has been. There's the time remaining as they continue to look for a goal and a decision, and perhaps the conclusion of the series in Bloomington tonight. And there is Mike Eagles, who seemed to be at the focal point of the altercation.
Jeff Courtnall is sitting out Sergio Momesso's extra penalty.
It's Walter clearing it outside the line. Ulanov gets a chance on the power play, hands it off to Olesen. There's Broughton to Olesen, who clears it in. Shannon gives chase. He's bumped by Plavsic. Randy Gregg has his man Elnick tied up. Broughton trying to dig it free, does to Shannon. Back to Olesen at the point. Now under 2 minutes to go in the game. Ulanov puts it high in the air in the slot. Shannon couldn't bring it down. And now it's center ice. Ulanov lost control, and here's Cron. Robert Cron with Walter, and the pass went by Walter to the far side. Frederick Olesen, and now we've got another penalty coming up, a high sticking call, and it's Ulanov going off.
A little frustration showing on Igor Ulanov. He's had a tough third period. First, that big pass to Pavel Bure that set up the 6th goal. And then the hit on Sandlak on the second Curtis goal that ended up in the Jets' net. Now watch Ulanov with the high stick on Ryan Walter. He follows Walter around, and then just as he's about to change, and look at Walter talking to him, watch Ulanov right here with the stick, right around Walter's neck. And Bill McCreary calls that high sticking penalty.
The expressions tell it all. 90 seconds to go in St. Louis, perhaps in the Blues' year, as the Hawks try to clinch that series after last year's first-round disappointment. Lume at center ice. Now Newman turns it back. 1:22 to go in the game. Tempo Newman to the line. Met there, knocked down by Robert Dirk, and it's cleared to Linden. Well, that stat of Linden's scoring a goal continues to get better and better. Both goals Linden has scored. Both games he scored in this series, the Canucks have won. Fires right in again, and Tabaracci with the glove save. Under a minute left in this one as Deblois works down the ice, and Robert Dirk won't let him pass. Lawler's moved up on the play. Dirk breaks it up and slides it out to center ice.
Canucks doing a good job playing in the neutral zone, not letting the Jets get any momentum going, anything to be positive about.
Here's Courtnall looking for Ronning, and that was broken up by Newman as they were trying to set up Ronning for his hat-trick goal. Cleared past Tabarachi, Ronning on the far side. 15 seconds to go. Out in front is Tom Fergus. He'd like to get a hat trick as well. Ronning knocks his man down. We got penalties coming and perhaps many more.
Ronning fell to his high stick. Now Tabarachi is in with Adrian Klazik. As the Canucks are on the power play, that's why Tabarachi got in there, as his team is outmanned on the ice.
Chanting for the Jet goaltender, who used to have a Ron Hextall-like disposition earlier on in his career. It's interesting that Ronning's in the middle of this.
With Aaron Broughton and Tom Fergus.
And now the fans pelting the Canuck bench.
And up comes a police officer. Make sure that the fan doesn't get involved with the Canuck bench.
Why would any fan want to take on Pat Quinn, let alone the Canucks?
And have they not been embarrassed enough? Have they not seen the Robert Ray picture of what happens to a fan that gets involved with the bench in that Quebec scene?
You're wondering about that Minnesota game and if it's the longest scoreless tie ever. March 24th, 36. Detroit beat the Montreal Maroons 1-0. It took till 16:30 of the third overtime period before Mud Bruneteau scored.
I thought you were going to ask me the trivia question, and I probably would have got it. I knew Mud Bruneteau got that good.
Okay, here's one for you. There was one that was almost as long. 104 minutes and 46 seconds. Rick Lee's got a stick in his hand. He wants to make sure there's no damage done around the Canuck bench. But in April 3rd, 1933, the Leafs beat the Bruins 1-0. The goal at 1:04:46. So that one didn't go quite as long, but into the sixth period. Who scored the winner then?
The 1933 Leafs, you've got me on that one. You're going to have to help me out.
I thought Ken Doherty would be at the
Ken Doherty.
tip of your tongue. Well, Kirk McLean's not going to get hit with anything. He's going to make sure of that.
Goaltenders, you would think, well, okay, pop the paper cups and things like that. I've been playing when people start throwing batteries and things like that, so that's not a bad play by Kirk McLean. The trouble was, when I played, it was usually my own fans that were throwing stuff at me.
Well, we have this moment. We can say that Mario Marois took the goal mask today and went in practice and made some saves and told me that he learned everything from John Garrett. Here's how all this started a few minutes ago.
You saw Lawler take Cliff Ronning down in the corner, and Ronning thought that should have been a penalty. And look at Ronning. He flattens Lawler from behind. And in comes Aaron Broughton. And the rest of the crew, the Canucks with the extra man on the ice when all that took place.
Well, it's 8-3, and there's 9.2 seconds to go, so you wonder if there's any point finishing it. But we do have a final score in St. Louis, and the Hawks are through, and the St. Louis Blues are the first team eliminated.
And we have Sean Cronin on the ice for the last 9 seconds. Interesting to see who Pat Quinn counters with. And now the Jets are getting an extra 2 minutes. They'll be 2 men short.
Well, they've filled up the pad here in this third period.
running out of room there on the official score sheet. A lot of goals and a lot of penalties.
And all that really counts is the Vancouver Canucks have won 2 in a row and are forcing this to a 7th game Thursday night in Vancouver with a thorough 8-3 victory.
Jets come out to console and congratulate Rick Tabaracci as again the Vancouver Canucks, after a fairly strong first period by the Winnipeg Jets, were able to take control, use their size, use their talented offensive players, and put the Jets away, badly.
Pat Quinn's team had 96 points during the regular season. They were down 3-1. But this team now starting to show the talent that got them to first place in the Smythe. The final score, Vancouver 8, Winnipeg 3.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC was brought to you by Molson Canadian, what beer's all about. By Imperial Oil and Esso Associates, you're on your way with Esso. And by Pepsi, gotta have it.
The Vancouver Canucks roll at the arena in Winnipeg, placing the Winnipeg Jets squarely behind the 8 ball for the second game in as many. The Canucks score 8 goals and they win by 5 on the road this evening to square the series at 3. The Molson 3 stars tonight with a hat trick. Pavel Bure, number 1. The second star, Cliff Ronning of the Vancouver Canucks, who had a pair, and Tom Fergus also scored twice tonight to help the Canuck cause. Tomorrow evening, the Stanley Cup playoffs continue on CBC television with the Canadians and the Hartford Whalers. The Habs ahead by 1 in that series. And then from the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, the deciding game between the Jets and the Canucks. It will be a 10:30 Eastern start. So once again, they'll cross the Rockies to find out which fighter comes out alive. The Vancouver Canucks win tonight, 8-3 to force Game 7. On behalf of all of us, thanks for watching tonight, and good night.
Just want to talk to the hero, Sergei Fedorov. Did you know it was in? It looked as if, on your reaction, maybe you weren't sure.
Yeah, I thought it's in, but it's decision referee. But it's looked like, on my decision about that, looked like Jimmy Carson, same goal, hit another crossbar inside of the net. And I thought pretty much score, but it's...
Sergei will give you a look. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a goal. Yeah, it's a goal.
I'm watching your stick. Wait a minute. Another angle.
Yeah, it's pretty much goal. I thought like that, but, you know, puck came back pretty quick, too. That's why I just look at the referee.
Listen, you've had a lot of big goals in your playing career in a short time with the Red Wings. Any bigger one than this one?
Yeah, I thought it's a very big goal for me and for my team because we won this game. It's so important for us.
Did you think that this game, the 6th game coming into it, that you would be going to overtime again tonight, that it would be such a low-scoring game?
I don't thought about that before the game. I just